2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
What is up, folks? Let me spit this ice out. Good Lord, what's going on, folks? It is the Friday free-for-all hosted by surprise guest Tony Dunn here. The surprise host is here. Oh, look, my bastard child is coming in at the last moment. Hey, White Chocolate Espresso, how are you?
What's happening, man?
Man, we are doing well as the training camp has begun. Cody Lasney's been in so much Twitter fighting, he had to take the night off today. Nah, he's got a friend coming in. He was so mad as he was busted. He's been fighting all day on Twitter. He's been dying on his hill. But today, the OG, the professor, will be hosting the Friday free-for-all. Brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Tuesday nights, we have the longest-running Panthers podcast on the interwebs, including the teams. That's right. You can join us every Tuesday, so call into the show, be a part of it. And tonight is the night that you can be a part of the show live. You get to host. You get to be my co-host tonight. And Panther Pickle, man, football is back.
Yes, it is. Lots of news floating around. Today, they didn't look so good. And remember, folks, don't freak out so much because I did the other day, and then I had to remind myself it's the first week of preseason. It ain't got physical yet. And your big left tackle, Ike Ekwonu, said he can't wait till it gets physical.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is that my advice to you as someone who has been trying to follow this team as closely as possible for the last decade from the fan perspective, hosting this podcast and CarolinaCatChronicles.com, the website, is like try not to get too high or too low on anything. You know, if a missed pass in the preseason is indicative of what you think is going to happen in the year, man, no year will be good, right? So don't over dissect, but follow it, care about it. It is exciting that football is here, just like I'm excited that Nick is here. Nick, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing? How do I sound, by the way? Brand new headset, so.
Perfect.
Awesome,
sound good.
Man. Hey, man, I'm happy to be here. I've been looking forward to the show all week, man, and the fact that we're actually at training camp and things are happening, I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to see what this team's going to do this year.
Anthony's in the house, man. Strong name. How you doing?
What is up, Tony? I'm doing pretty good. Just watch training camp today. The quarterbacks are all right, but, I mean, I think just like what Pickle said, we just need to wait till those pads go on, man, to really start seeing some action from this team. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm excited what this team's going to do this year. So,
yeah, this is the time that hope springs eternal for all fans. Right now, we're undefeated, right? And it gets to be that way for a while. But football's here, and that's the good thing. And I'm glad you guys are here. I'm not going to try to keep up with Cody's mantle here. Get some shout-outs. JD54 in the house. OAH 2023. Lawrence Trevette. Vol Guy 23, And Grim Reaper, Tech Death Hippie. I like that name. Carson 1. And of Wagata 001, whatever that is. But welcome to the Friday free for all. You guys can be a part of it. I dropped the link to join the free for all earlier. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'll start with my bastard son. What do you think? One few practices under the belt, and what's on your mind as a fan?
Mostly, why is Sam Darnold leaving out there? I just feel like he's wasting reps. From what Corral and Baker really is the only competition at quarterback right now. It should be, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was one of the initial people. You can go read that story on the website. Is Carolina be wise to release Sam Darnold? Maybe they're trying to figure out the way to get some sort of trade value for him.
Maybe.
And picking up some of his salary or paying all of his salary to someone and just getting a pick or something for him. But you're right. Is the problem is that there's just too many players in that quarterback room to get the right guys, the right reps. Now, if they really believe this is going to be a competition, Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, which I don't know, maybe they're dumb enough to really believe that. Imagine making your bet on Matt Rhule and saying, you know what, I feel good. Sam Darnold won it. That would be crazy and wild. But I know Cody Lashney's been going crazy because Matt Corral is just not going to get much opportunity. I told him this is and when you go, these are 2-hour practices, folks.
Yeah.
They're 2 hours. They go run these routes one time and then they go to the next route. So it's not like when we think of the word practice, we just do it over and over and over and over and over again. No, they're pros. They're like, you got it. Moving on. Next install. Moving on. So there are very limited reps. I wonder, I have not even heard some of the other quarterbacks' names like PJ Walker.
Yeah, what's he even doing out there?
I heard this on the radio that PJ Walker and Matt Corral are with the threes and the fours. They're with the 3 and 4, third and fourth string. That's what they're doing. But and they're competing that way. I mean, what people think that Matt Corral's actually going to get cut for PJ Walker? I mean,
yeah,
the whole thing's dumb. You know, cut PJ Walker, go in it with 3. Personally, I would cut Sam Darnold myself personally. But
I think they're going to keep some of them around for the preseason though, because you need those bodies to play some downs and some stuff like that. But you're right. The question is does Sam Darnold is he doing anything right now more than stealing reps? Nick, you're in Massachusetts watching this from afar, just like kind of we're watching it on Twitter. Going through this first 3 practices, the headlines have all been focused on Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, and I would say the battle with the defense. Is there anything other than that, or what's on your mind as a fan from looking this from up top?
So thank you to Panthers Access on Instagram, first off. Okay. That's where I've been getting a majority of my updates from, all the videos, that sort of deal, as well as you guys, obviously. But, for me, I've seen a lot of, like you said, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. It's kind of seems like it's almost been slightly in favor of Sam Darnold as far as the QB battle to begin with. I don't think it's going to work out like that in the long run. I think there's going to be a lot of Mayfield to more. I'm already going to start calling it the M&M connection. So,
ooh, like it.
But then I've also been seeing quite a bit of Matt Corral too, and the things that I've been seeing with Matt Corral have all been positive. The fact that when he isn't with the 1s and 2s, even if he's sitting on the sideline, he's actually basically going through the motions of getting the call in, going up to the line, fake snapping it, the whole 9 yards. So I have to say, as well as also being the first guy to practice 2 of the 3 days. I know being the first guy to practice isn't necessarily much of anything, but if you're going to go for that starting role and you're going to be looked at as that third string guy right now, you got to do something that makes you stand apart from everybody else. So Matt Corral, I have to say, You're doing a great job. Just keep doing what you're doing. And at some point, I feel like we're going to see him this season. And I hope he surprises all of us.
I agree. Look, don't fault somebody for doing the right things.
Yeah.
You know, that is. Go ahead.
I would say I'm kind of disappointed Baker didn't beat him out there. Like, his whole thing is that the Browns, he was a bad leader. Like, shouldn't he be like the first one out there?
Yeah, and maybe because you're a vet and you realize that being the first literal dude on the field doesn't actually mean that you're working the hardest, you know, is that it's visually symbolic, I guess.
Yeah.
But you're right, is that I think I don't know if you're right. It's like, should we think about this as a knock on Baker? Because I tell you, if this would have been Cam back in the day, they'd be like, oh my God, Cam's not putting in the work or whatever it may be.
He's running around training camp.
Dancing and having fun rather than being his playbook. But I do like this. What I think is Matt Corral has shown some real, I guess, initiative, go-to, confidence in himself, in the fact that, like, he could have easily just shrunk into the background as Baker Mayfield kind of took over the spotlight as the battle with Sam Darnold. He's likely not going to actually be able to win the battle, right?
Yeah.
But he's going in there. And like Nick said, that probably more cooler than him showing up first is him going through the vocal calls, the checks when he's not getting the rep. So he's really doing a lot of things that are fantastic. Anthony, as you watch training camp begin, you said you were excited that football's here. What do you make of this quarterback competition so far, or what has stood out to you so far?
You're muted.
Muted.
Oh, my bad. I think it kind of goes back to your article, Tony, like how Sam Darnold's kind of, what's the word? He's kind of the odd one here, you know, like he's in the middle between Baker and Corral. And, you know, I think the way we should be doing it is just give Baker and Corral the same reps and see who looks better, because ultimately that's how we're going to know, you know, if Corral's ready to roll. And at the same time, it's like we didn't invest that much into Baker. So if he does lose the job, then it's like, well, all right. I mean, but, you know, I want to see Corral out there. I have no hate against Corral. And I think that's one thing I've been portrayed as, just a Baker fan. But it's not just being a Baker fan. It's more of, you know, I feel like a lot of people on this team have stuff to prove. And I think Corral and Baker are in that same boat. They're both trying to prove that they're the starting quarterback. And I just have the problem with, you know, if Sam's going to be on the roster and he's not going to start, then it just makes sense to cut him. Because if, let's just say, Baker gets injured midseason, I think all of us would want to see what Corral has. Makes sense to cut him as opposed to throwing in Sam.
Yeah, I'm going to be cautious with. I know Cody has been working on cultivating these disciples throughout all over the place. Is that I don't think that Corral is in any real possible world could beat out Baker for this job, just straight beat him. And not because he can't be a better player in the future. I just think there's too much on the line for this team going into this season, where Matt Rhule doesn't have the luxury. Scott Fitterer doesn't have the luxury. Really, nobody on this team, even as a roster member, has the luxury of us really having a bad year again, right? And so
I could
go ahead.
I was just gonna say one player, but yeah, no. DJ Moore is probably the only player on the team that,
right,
like he can go out there and he can perform and, you know, makes his money. He skips around the practice field. You can tell he's probably the happiest guy on the team. But yeah, that you go on with what you were saying. I just wanted to
and
get
it's
that
just
out there.
like, it's just the idea is that it would be such a kind of a foolish thing to bet on Matt Corral if you're Matt Rhule right now. You know, is that it might actually work, but when we're talking about, when Cody is up here saying, hey, go put this youngin in, we don't know what we're going to get, is we know we're going to get a whole new coaching staff if we don't win more than 8 games. So this is going to be a very important season. Now I want to go and move the conversation, Kenneth, to this. I can't believe this is as we're sitting here. I guess the quarterback position is just sexy, right? It's like the most important position, or it's like the easiest one to follow. And this one has some real drama to it. But to me, a story on the very first day. So I teach, I have a Monday, Wednesday class. I get out of class on Wednesday. I run to my office and open up Twitter to watch Twitter TV as camp unfolds. And the first thing I see is Jaycee Horn on the active pup list.
You had to go there, man. That one hurts.
We got to talk about it.
Yep.
We got to talk about it.
Yep. I tell you,
go ahead.
I just the guy they signed today, and I want y'all to understand this because I looked this up briefly. It didn't take long. Of the 2018 draft, we literally right now have 3 picks from the 3 players from the first round and 3 players from a second round on our roster. Because we've got the Baker Mayfield, we got Sam Darnold, and we got DJ Moore.
Okay.
The second round, Austin Corbett, our guard we got, was the first pick in the second round.
All right.
Then pick 23 was Dante Jackson. The very next pick is Duke Dawson, the corner we signed today.
Wow. Okay. So we are good at picking up players who were evaluated high who's the best name? All the names on those lists: Austin Corbett, DJ Moore, Dante, the ones that excite me.
Exactly.
All right, Nick, tell her what the heck Jaycee Horn is that it was the foot too. It was foot soreness.
Yeah, and dude, honestly, that's what gets me. And what really kills me, man, is I unfortunately called this probably about a month ago. I said that I was worried that this could be an issue that lingers for a while. Because we saw players like Matt Paradis. Now, granted, he didn't have a foot injury like that, but his first season with us was not necessarily great. And then his second season, he looked like he could be doing something, but the whole line looked terrible around him. So, unfortunately, I kind of called this. I hope it just disappears way before preseason, but we'll see what happens.
Look, you don't want to over embellish a story, right? You don't want, probably want to if you're trying to make it in this business of talk sports or whatever we call this on YouTube. And like, you do want those exciting positions, those takes. I guess that's why the Skip Bayless and the Colin Cowherds have a job and a role. So you don't want to just immediately go to, oh my God, is this serious? Is this going to threat? But it's not heartening. That's my thing, is that I'm not trying to flip out about it, but it's not good news.
No, it's not. And we need all the good news we can get at this point.
Yep. Yeah. I just, when they first did it, I thought this got on nerves because, I mean, he looks so good off season. And just right before camp, they did this treatment or this, whatever they did. And all of a sudden his foot hurt. So they just go ahead and do it, which I guess I understand they did that, but I'm like you, it's like, oh.
It's not like he's a 10-year veteran.
No.
Where it's like he's coming off an injury. He's been to camp before. He's been in this league before. He is all hype at this point. Now, he's lived up to it in those first 3 games. He looked very, very good. And, bro, his dad was a boss-ass wide receiver.
Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you can learn from that all your life, I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's like one of the lowest risk prospects, but availability, it's just, this is like, you just would have liked for the Jaycee Horn thing to be like, hey, everything's great. You got DJ Moore skipping up in there. Even Christian McCaffrey's there, doing his thing. And it's just like, gosh, it's scary. It's scary because you also don't want to, while we don't want to embellish it, we also don't want to be baited into that kind of like, oh, it's not a big deal thing either. Because some teams can do, they'll do this. They're always trying to downplay stuff. Do you remember? I mean, think back about when Cam hurt his shoulder. And that first time he did it, and it was all camp long. And they're like, oh, it's not that big a deal. We're just trying to take it cautious. And then it was. It turned out to be a big deal.
Right.
So
they
Jaycee
did
Horn
the same thing with his foot, too.
Yeah, exactly.
And with Christian McCaffrey.
All right, we got G-Baby in the house.
What's good with you boys?
What's up, G-Baby?
What's up, man?
What's up, fellas? It's good to see all you motherfuckers in here.
Yeah, man, we're here. We got to see some football spinning around today or this week. What are your thoughts on the first week of training camp and the news that's coming out of it so far?
I'm going to say this like I said this last year. We got to trade Jaycee Horn, man.
What?
We got to trade him, boys.
Damn.
He came out here with the
I'm going to tell you why.
He is Colin Cowherd.
I'm telling you, the very first thing we heard when Greg Olsen broke his foot, he came back. He came back, and the very first thing that was reported is he had a sore fucking foot, man. I don't fuck with the broken foots, man. They don't work, man. It's not gonna, man. He broke his foot week 3. He's had all this time to heal, and the very first, man. Oh my god.
I know it's scary.
He's on PUP. You can't trade him when he's on PUP.
Well, I guess the point there is we got to pull back the layers on G-Baby's comment, right? It's not necessarily the trade being the most important part, but the lingering foot injuries in football.
He's not old, fellas. He's not old. So it's not.
You know, he does have an old looking face, though.
He does.
He kind of looks old. Like, it's like, we got to check your birth certificate. You know, it's like that kid that's in Little League with you. He's throwing 99 gas, and you're like, man, this kid ain't 12.
The sad part is, good thing he's going to be rich when he's old, because he ain't going to have the good looks when he's old.
He's already rich.
When he actually gets old, he'll look older than he looks now.
He got his daddy's money. He's born rich.
Yeah. Joe Horn's real cool is that I helped these guys get this podcast started called Under the Dome, and he'll come on their podcast. Like, that's how cool Joe Horn is. And they're very small, and but they just good fans.
Tony, let me ask you this real quick. I don't want to interrupt you, G, but remember how much shit you talked on Curtis Samuel, G? And you remember the one thing you said, man? You said, when we had the chance to trade the fool, we should have traded it and got as much as we could out of him, right? Bro, if we go a whole nother season with Jaycee Horn, bro, and he doesn't perform or something happens, we're going to lose the value, man. We can still get a first out from – if we trade Jaycee Horn right now, we can get a first-round draft pick. If we wait and something happens, we're not going to get more than a third, man. We won't get more than a third.
I think that value is only to Panther fans right now. You know, is that I think that Panther fans saying this, like, I just don't. If you're going around the league, I'm not ready to trade for a guy coming off an injury that high. I don't think you would get as much as you think.
Will we trade CJ Henderson for?
A third round.
Third round
pick.
Probably.
Oh, and Dan Arnold.
And Dan Arnold.
Yeah.
So
you guys are opposed to trading Jaycee Horn right now, knowing
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think you get the value. I don't think you're right.
You're right on the money, Tony. That's exactly where I was going with that. So he, like you said, dude, he got injured in the 3rd game last season, and he's only practiced for a few days, and he's already on the active PUP list. Okay, so teams are going to look at that exactly how you're looking at that right now. Oh, he's injury prone. I'm not gonna trade a first round pick for him. But you're selling low, exactly. On top of that, okay, let's face it, his value right now is only ever so slightly better than if he came out and got injured by the 3rd game again. You know, you've seen enough of Jaycee.
You actually need him to go perform well. Like, if you were really committed to this idea, which I wouldn't, right? I think he's a 1st round draft pick, which is different than a Curtis Samuel too, because you get a 5th year option with this guy. So, like, if he does turn out to be really good, like everybody's forecasting, you could get him for that extra year. And there's real value with that 5th round up. But that might go away with the new NFLPA thing that they're signing. But I just don't think that outside of Carolina Panther fans right now that the value is as high as it is. You know, so if you really are committed and you got a concern that he was going to be injury prone, you need him to go have a Pro Bowl year.
Right.
And then kind of be like trying to maybe pull an Xavier. You paint him as trying to be like Xavier Howard, always trying to get a new contract every 2 seconds. And then you trade him. I just don't really think you're going to get much value. I think more of the question just is this, if this is precautionary, why the first practice? That's the thing for me. It's not like, we went out there and worked him a couple of days and we want to give him a couple of days off. Yeah. They gave him day 1 off.
I don't even think he practiced. I think they did it.
No, he did.
No, which I'm nowhere near.
Speak the truth, G. Speak how you truly feel about it.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think it's just precaution. Let me ask you this: would Ron Rivera have done this? Maybe not. The fact is, I heard Ron Rivera on the NFL radio today going at reporters back and forth because they want to know why the Washington stud defensive end is still out. He's on PUP too. So yeah. So they're wanting to know why he's on PUP still and he ain't back. So, you know, it's you got to remember, JC broke 3 bones in his foot. You know, he has surgery. He looks good right now. If you rush him out there, you're going to have a lot of issues. That's one thing about G-Bay. You talked about Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen was a lot older, and he rushed himself on that field before he was ready.
Well, I think, too, one is the good news is Jaycee Horn is not an offensive lineman.
Right.
And if the foot injuries for the heavy dudes are probably going to be even worse, exactly. It's not a good thing. Anytime you get a major injury.
And he's playing in preseason.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. I mean,
it's actually the sketchiest part to me is anytime I see a bunch of off-season workout videos hyping people up, I get so nervous and suspicious. It's like it's just bad juju, bad karma. We saw a lot of him working like crazy, and you're like, oh, he looks great. He looks
That's
great.
What I'm saying. What the fuck? What is going on, man? It's always so this fuck-ass team, man. I'm sick of these guys, man. These guys have me so fucking stressed out, man. Like, I get made fun of at work, bro. You guys, this fucking team, man.
You know, dude, I understand because I used to get that way myself. Well, let me tell you what. It ain't going to do nobody no good to get upset like that. I tell you why. It's because the head coaches and the coaches, you know what, to be honest with you, have y'all ever had foot problems or any type of medical issues? Well, sometimes you just have an ache. Just, you know, whatever. And it goes away shortly thereafter. If you're Jaycee Horn, you go to have your physical, doc says, how's the foot feeling? It's all right. Are you sure? Yeah, it aches sometimes, but it's good. It's getting better. Put him on PUP. Put him on PUP right away. Maybe that's what it was. I mean, Jaycee Horn ain't come out and told everybody anything. Shaq Thompson had his knee cleaned out. He's walking up and down there playing coach.
Bro, our defense is in trouble, boys. And we never talk about
fantastic. Or it's awesome right now, given the reports coming out of camp that all the red zone stuff is tough, right? Like that Baker and these guys aren't fantastic. I mean, maybe the defense is going to be good. I'm more interested. Like, it's really just hard to gauge. Right now, it's like it's flag football out there.
Yeah. We just signed Duke Johnson.
Yeah, and that Shaq Thompson said he's good. He said he'll be 100% before the preseason games.
Patriots second rounder.
So
former.
Man, I've lost so much respect. I used to get on Tony's ass about fucking Shaq Thompson when he used to wear his jersey and then go back and forth. Nah, you know what? Shaq Thompson's a straight up bitch, bro. And I'm gonna speak it how it is, man. He didn't learn nothing from fucking TD and Luke, man. He didn't learn jack shit, man. That was a facade. He was covered up by the greatness of Luke and TD, man. I'm sorry, bro. I'm out on Shaq Thompson, man. I'm out. I'm done defending him. I'm out.
He's
Well,
the
we
best
haven't
linebacker we have.
Well, yeah, right now, I guess
Yeah.
we'll see. You know, he's been okay. You know, we were talking about this before the show started when we were talking about ranking quarterbacks that Panthers have had and players. And it almost feels like this is that a player's ranking really is, do they meet or exceed or fall below the expectations you had when you got them? So for me, it's like, it's not that Shaq Thompson is a bad linebacker. It's just I put my expectations higher, and he's probably fallen into the better than average category, but not what I thought he was going to be. For instance, is like if Jaycee Horn doesn't go and become a shutdown number one corner, he will fall below the expectations I set for him.
Well, remember, TD wasn't really great Pro Bowl material until like later in his career.
Yeah, they had to change his position. At first, he started at safety, like he played in college. Then he moved to linebacker.
He played running back in college, man.
No, it was safety.
Shaq did.
Shaq Thompson played running back in college.
Yeah, we're talking about Thomas Davis right now.
Oh, Thomas Davis. Okay.
Yeah, and so that, I mean, and look, is that a player can come into their own. Shaq's been in the league 7 years though. Yeah. So, and you know what? He had his best year last year. I think what you got, if we get one more year like what we got from Shaq last year, that's going to be a good thing. One thing though is the coaching staff loves Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
Boy, they will not stop sucking him off.
Yeah, I believe Shaq was one of them Gettleman picks, and I think Shaq is who Shaq is. Maybe he shouldn't have been a first round pick. We drafted him. There was a lot of debate that he shouldn't have been a first round pick, but he was. But when you put him right up there with Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, you expect him to be up at that level. And he's just not. He's just not. He's just not that. He's good, but he's not great.
He was a late round pick though in the first round, like 25th.
25th. I mean, but you know what? He was sold to us to be like what
Thomas Davis was.
Exactly.
Or even more so, I thought kind of like Isaiah Simmons. People told us Isaiah Simmons was going to be like this multi-tool super athlete that was going to be able to cover. And you know what? Actually, in the early part, it started to look like that, man. We were playing putting him at the Buffalo nickel early on in that 2015, 2016 season. He was like covering like Jimmy Graham. And so, and it did look like it almost just was hard for him to get enough reps in the beginning, and then injuries set in. And then I don't know, but right now, Shaq Thompson's probably the least of my worries, even though he is on the PUP. To me, Jaycee Horn being on the PUP list is that I just want to see him be healthy before training camp is over, so I have some faith that he can be healthy and contribute throughout the season. Because if they have to protect him the entire training camp and the entire preseason, the evidence is like we just have to hope that he gets better. So let's turn our focus to what do you think about Robbie? Or actually, before we get to Robbie Anderson, because I got a lot to say about Robbie Anderson right now. I feel like one of the things with training camp is that we get so sucked into the 2 or 3 players or headlines that we are fed, not only fed by our desire to know. In this case, it's Mayfield, Darnold, right? Like that's your main entree when you're checking Panther information right now. But my question is, what are the missing stories? Who are the names that you're not hearing, right? As I thought,
Foreman, I think.
Right, and maybe you don't get to know the running back one yet until they put the pads on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The one thing I heard today, I never heard this until I heard it on NFL radio. I just never thought about it. Maybe I should have thought about it, but I didn't. I always assumed Bozeman would be our starting center. But according to Joe Person on XM Sirius Radio, because I was just listening to it, and all of a sudden they start talking to Panthers and welcome Joe Person on, and I'm thinking, all right, I got lucky here. I got to hear about my Panthers on XM Radio. And Joe speaks about how Yahweh He'll elect us. About Pat Elflein right now is actually higher at center than Bozeman.
These motherfuckers, bro.
Now G-Baby stood up on that one. The Bozeman thing is surprising. I thought he was brought in to be a starter, but they only did give him a 1-year deal.
Right.
I told you guys, man, god damn it, man. This coaching staff, man, this whole regime, the front office, all the way to the top has got to fucking go, man. This is a joke. Tony, speak the truth, G. There's no way you guys think we're going to have a winning season this year. I need you guys to be real with me, man.
Well, they will be gone. I hate to tell you, or I hearten to tell you this, that they will be gone if they have a bad season. Don't you worry. They're going to have like borderline great season to stick around. I think even Fitterer could theoretically be part of the parting package too if you had to. But going back to the F line, these non-story or the stories they're not talking about is that they do F line though is they have said like he was taking snaps with the ones at center, right?
Crazy, man,
so I'm surprised that maybe I don't know, maybe they had a different idea of what Bozeman was. And wasn't it you, Kenneth, that put up today in the conversation on Twitter? This is kind of funny. Is Cam Irvin was slated to be the left tackle from day one last year, and this guy's running with the bum squad right now.
He's with the 3s and 4s, and some folks on Twitter are like, "Well, why didn't he just cut?" Well, if you cut him right now, he's making $6.5 million. If you cut him, you're still paying him $4 million. So you keep him, but he is where he should have always been, a backup. And if put it this way, if you cut him, who's going to play swing tackle? Dennis Daly? You shouldn't expect Joe Bray. I
haven't heard those names at all. And maybe that's a good thing. We have not heard. I have not heard Cam. Today was the first time I heard Cam Irvin's name in since the end of the season. And just then when you said, I haven't heard much about him other than some Panthers Twitter people. But even today, when you just mentioned Dennis Daly, I had not heard that name either. Let's go to Nick in Massachusetts. Any names and storylines that you haven't heard that you thought you would have right now? I saw a little Tommy Trimble name pop up today, but Terrace Marshall Jr. was the darling of OTAs, and I haven't heard his name once either.
I've heard Terrace Marshall's name quite a bit, but I've heard both good and bad between great catches. I think it was actually from Sam. But then also today there was a pretty big drop. And I remember seeing the video. I can send it over to you, Tony. But it was kind of a big drop in the aspect that it bounced off of a couple of defenders and then actually ended up in one of our other wide receivers' hands.
Oh, was that the Shi Smith one today?
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe I'm mixing that up. So
no, Shi Smith's the one that came up with it at the end. And they did. Was it a catch or not video? So I didn't see who the first receiver was.
That's the first time I've ever heard Shi Smith mention this camp.
Same. Yeah, and actually, you know what, Panther? That's exactly where I'm going to go with mine, is the tight end room. Tight end room has been pretty quiet. You know, for an offensive coordinator that's said to be very heavily dependent on the tight end position, why have we not heard a single thing about the tight ends?
Yeah, I know. Let's welcome in DF Sports to the conversation. How you doing tonight?
Hey, what's going on? I don't know if you guys remember me. I was the Browns fan who was on a couple weeks ago. I wanted to join back now that it's been a little bit of time. How's the Baker Mayfield experience going for you guys? I haven't seen a whole lot, but Browns Twitter, we're still talking about him. I mean, the fan base is just, it's crazy.
DF, we have a different host this time, if you will. Tell us about, you do a podcast, right?
Yeah, I can if you want. A little bit of background on me. I talk about the Browns on YouTube, same channel name. I'm involved with a couple other Browns related, channels, and I'm in a network. So I don't want to say I cover the Browns. I don't like saying that, but I do talk about them, and big Browns fan. And so, yeah, I've been watching Baker for years.
Yeah, well, that's how my name's Tony Dunn. This usually Cody is the host of the Friday Free for All, so I'm kind of subbing in tonight. But I started C3 Panthers podcast 10 years ago, and it's just that. It is us just watching football carefully from the fan perspective in many ways. And Baker Mayfield has been obviously the centerpiece of attention for Carolina Panther fans in this training camp. They have tried to not overdo it in a way from the team perspective of like, look, is they've really tried to put this air that it's a competition on out there. So on day one, Sam Darnold got snaps with the ones. Day two, Baker Mayfield got snaps with the ones. And then day three, they flip-flopped it back, I think, which was today, day three. Right now, I think this is what the kind of, from what I have seen, and I'll let the guys chime in after this on what their take is that Baker Mayfield has not been perfect, which no one, I think, expected that to be the case. One, coming into a new team. Two, working with new players. Three, coming off of an injury and some different things. Just trying to get his bearings in a way. So no one expected perfection. But, is that like when you throw a pick in training camp and people, there's a narrative that you can be careless with the ball or maybe that's one of the weaker part of your games. People do latch on to that. But what I also have heard is that Sam Darnold, while he may be a little bit cleaner if you look at the completions in camp, has been far more conservative. And I saw that people were just saying that Baker has a propensity to push the ball downfield more. So it's like as if they can get clicking, if he can just get some time in the system, working with these guys more, it seems like it would be heading in the right direction. That's kind of the feeling that I've gotten from it, guys. What do you guys think about Baker Mayfield's initial appearance in training camp?
I like it. Actually, I think he's doing pretty good for a guy who just got the playbook or who's trying to doing everything on his own, only just a couple weeks to get in the playbook. I mean, you got to remember Sam's had the playbook since earlier this year at OTAs. So he's had it for several months before Baker did. So
that was Baker is he's quick-witted.
Yep.
Right in his press conferences,
as I know that he's taking his pressers. That's for sure.
I like that, and so I know he's taken a lot of flack from kind of pushing back at the media. But somebody asked him the question to the effect like, "How do you feel with the offense now, and your understanding of it?" Then you compared to 2 weeks ago, and he said, well, given the fact that I didn't have it 2 weeks ago or whatever, is like, and that was literally like, he's like, yes, I mean, I got it 13 days ago or something like that. But
yeah, that's Baker.
He's been fun. He said one of the things that was fun, I thought, is he wore long sleeves and pants to the first day, and we have our training camp takes place in a place that it's like the hell. It's like where heat goes to sweat. It's so hot in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It's like the air dies there. And he was like, I want to make that mistake again. I should have listened. I was a little stubborn. And I thought the best thing, I feel like this is Baker's a dude I would like to hang out with.
Yeah. I mean, he's an interesting character. I think I said this the last time I was on, and whenever you guys want to move me back, I'm fine. But Baker's an interesting guy, right? The last time I think I said he's the perfect guy to have when you're winning and everything is going well. Like that energy he has is just infectious, and it carries throughout the locker room, throughout the fan base. Like that's just the energy he brings, which, me being a Cleveland fan at the time in 2018 when we took him, that is what we needed. We needed that energy. But at the same time, when you have a guy like that, he's not the best when things aren't going well. And some of the things that you've probably seen so far, like in the pressers where he's getting a little bit chippy, like that stuff, I love that. Personally, I really like that because that tells me you're a football guy. But sometimes that can flip its ugly head. And it's like, well, shit, here he's clapping back at fans now and stuff like that. So that's just things to expect with Baker.
I think it was the first day of camp. It may be the second day. He come to walking into camp with right next to Sam Darnold. Lady standing over there with the Browns jersey on, screaming, "Go Baker!" She had a Browns number 6 spray on. He looked up and said, "Get that thing out of here." I did like that.
Like he's not supposedly. Yeah, he's not signing Browns jerseys right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like
Makes me like him more.
I like this.
I can't really blame him.
Right. I thought he had the best answer to a question about the Spartanburg training camp. So our training camp has been, and this is an old thing that goes back to our old owner, Jerry Richardson. He went to college at this place called Wofford, which is a private school in South Carolina. And he has always hosted our training camp there. And partially because we didn't have facilities to do it at our own place other than just, I guess, the stadium. And but this is going back to what, the 96 season or 90, whenever the Wofford, the first training camp was there, but they go and stay in the dorms. The guys, the whole team, it's about, how far is it from Charlotte, guys? 2 hours?
I've only been there once.
Yeah, I think it might be 2 hours, hour and a half from Charlotte. So the guys don't commute back and forth. They don't go home and go eat dinner with their family and stuff. And they stay in the dorms. And, Baker was asked about it. He said, well, it's different. He said, we did all of our training camp in the facility in Cleveland. And he said, but this is cool because, you get to eat lunch eat dinner with the guys and that kind of sense of bonding, team building. So I thought and he just, the way he articulated it was incredible.
Let's not forget Baker's first practice at Spartanburg, South Carolina, when he realized wearing pants and a long sleeve shirt wasn't the proper attire.
Yeah. Even though Cam Newton used to wear like a full-on jumpsuit, bro.
Yep,
my mother would be like, I got to cut 10 pounds real quick and dance all throughout practice.
Yeah.
We've been monitoring it, right? I think, how is y'all's camp going? How about that? Let's just briefly, let's jump over to Cleveland. Is Deshaun Watson and the bum squad of receivers over there? What's going down?
It's going really good. Aside from the injuries, like you talked about, our receiving core it's definitely interesting. I mean, David Bell, who I love out of Purdue. I'm also a Buckeye fan. I go to Ohio State, so I've gotten to see a lot of David Bell. I think he's a great talent, but he's got a foot injury that unfortunately, I don't know. I think it's worse than what they're saying. Anthony Schwartz sucks. I've never liked Anthony Schwartz. He's hurt again. But just in general, it's going pretty well. I mean, Deshaun, I think, is adapting, I guess you could say, pretty well. There's a clear difference. I mean, the way the ball just comes out of his hand is effortlessly. It's cool. I mean, obviously, I appreciate Baker and his time in Cleveland, and he's given us Browns fans something we haven't had in a long, long time. Like, we just haven't had a guy at quarterback. But it is a little bit bittersweet. Obviously, how Baker, that whole situation ended is unfortunate. But just speaking as a Browns fan, obviously the off the field stuff aside, I think Deshaun I think he's going to fit in really good in Cleveland, and I'm excited about it.
Well, I mean,
Hey,
especially
talk about your guys's. I feel like a lot of. I'm not talking about anybody on this panel, but a lot of these dumbass Panther fans, man, just don't realize the talent you guys have on that defensive side of the ball. Will you speak more of what's on your guys'? We got to play you guys week 1, and we're gonna get a reality check.
Yeah, so I'll try to hit everything here real quick, but starting up front, the defensive line, Clowney and Garrett, for whatever reason, they just fit really well together. You know, Myles Garrett is kind of really all around a very good defensive end. It's not like Clowney. Clowney's really just a run stuffer, right? He's that run defender at defensive end, which you don't see a lot of in the NFL anymore. You know, everybody focuses on the pass rush guys, but they complement each other very, very well. Interiorly is where it kind of struggles, right? We don't really have the guy. We signed Taven Bryant. He's, you know, he is what he is, former first-round pick. We got some guys that I love. Perrion Winfrey, Browns fans, we are very, very excited about him. But, I mean, let's be honest, he's a rookie, right? He's going to take some time to get involved and step up. So our weakness on the defensive line is in the interior, without a doubt. Linebackers, it's very top-heavy. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is an absolute weapon. I don't even really consider him a linebacker. If you watch that dude, he flies around the field. He can cover. He can blitz. His burst on making a tackle. I mean, that dude is going to be spectacular. He is the modern-day linebacker. Another guy you guys should probably know about, since we're playing you week 1, is Jacob Phillips. I don't know how much he's going to play because he's coming off of an injury, but that guy led that national championship LSU defense that was stacked in tackles. That guy has been very, very good in Cleveland, but he's not been healthy. This is going to be his first season healthy. And the linebacker depth is kind of shaky, but the real strength is in the secondary. Denzel Ward, I think, you know, every NFL fan base probably knows how good Denzel Ward is. He's one of those top names. But Greg Newsome is really, really good. People do not know about Greg Newsome. He has potential to be better than Denzel, in my opinion. He's much better in zone, in my opinion. He's like Denzel to where he's got real good fluidity in his hips and feet. The dude covered Jamar Chase, locked him up for the most part. Nobody really did that last year. Our safeties are pretty good. John Johnson, we're finally using him in the box more. I don't like Ronnie Harrison, but he's back, whatever. And then Grant Delpit, I talked about that LSU defense. He's a guy who's been really, really good, but again, so far in the NFL, he's been really hurt. This is his first full year healthy. So he's my breakout player for the Browns just as a whole on our roster. But yeah, that defense it's interesting because there's so many young guys, right? And I think you guys probably know as well, when you have so many young pieces, it's going to take time, which is kind of what last year was for us. So I'm excited to see these guys, if they have more of a chemistry, more of a, just fluidity on that defense and Joe Woods' scheme. Because we run like a 4-2-5 for the most part. So we'll see how these guys can adapt.
Let's turn our conversation to, he mentioned the strength for the Browns being their secondary. Let's turn our conversation to the Panthers wide receivers, because I feel like we in training camp, especially in this non-padded practice, that it's a moment for the offensive players to kind of show off. At least that's what I would think is that you can't tackle, you can't rush the quarterback, you can't intimidate guys going over the middle or anything. The only thing you can do is finesse play defense, and that's probably why pass breakups are so kind of celebrated by defensive players, because like every tool they have is already taken out of the toolbox. What Robbie DJ Moore looks like he's settled in to kind of saying, this is my group. I'm the guy here. This is my, like, he seems very confident in his play. He seems more present or front and center. Maybe the team's making him that way, signing more autographs, talking, bantering with fans a little bit, celebrating after plays. But to me, what's interesting is the absence of discussion around the other names, particularly Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson, who has been gone from a lovable kind of wacky dude in the beginning, from what's that bear doing, to 1,000-yard receivers first year to getting paid, which, I understood why he would want that. You had one of your best seasons. Let's try to negotiate the deal now. Really regressed last year. Struggled himself early on. Poor circumstances with quarterback play, had the eruption on the sidelines. And then he started fighting with fans on Twitter back and forth and different things like that. Robbie changed his name yesterday. It was so bad or whatever. Where's Robbie Anderson in this training camp?
So, Tony, why did we give him a fucking contract, G? Why did we fucking pay him,
1,000 yards. 1,000-yard receiver there.
I said trade him before that.
Time out. Man, fuck that shit, man. I've been a fan since 95, G. I'm going to tell you how it is, G. We did not need to pay Robbie Anderson, bro. Off of a 1,000-yard receive, bro, we know why he had 1,000 yards. Teddy Bridgewater was passing him the ball, G. Teddy Bridgewater was a one-read quarterback. Every single time he would read, it would always be DJ. We always bitched about that, man. That's why fucking Robbie Anderson got the 1,000 yards, man. Because he was the number. That was fucking Teddy Bridgewater's Teddy's number one, man. That was the number one. We should have never paid Robbie that contract because he had 1,000 yards. We never drafted Robbie Anderson. What the fuck are we giving him money for, man? That money should have went to Curtis Samuel, dog. And I know you ain't a Curtis Samuel fan, but that motherfucker balled, man. He was a fucking dog, man. You guys can talk. Go look at the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. Every single time he touched the ball.
He was here 4 years. He played good one season because he was hurt all the 3 seasons. You don't play a guy like that money. Washington paid him.
Oh, Curtis Samuel paid him, man. If you foolish,
and he was out the entire year they paid.
He ain't played at all.
Washington
played at all in
to
Washington.
cut Curtis Samuel if they can afford it because he can't stay healthy.
Hold on, I'm gonna look up his stats right now.
Look up his stats, please.
Nah, he ain't. He's really been hurt. Wait, and you know what? I like
Tony,
him.
you can't say that though, G.
Yeah, he had a heart problem.
You can't say that, G.
Oh, I can.
Hey, can I ask you a question about Curtis Samuel? So obviously, I watched him a ton at Ohio State, right? I just want to know, I haven't been able to watch him in the NFL. How did you guys use him? Would be my question because I haven't seen a lot of him.
We didn't use him the right way the first couple of years.
He was like a running back / Cordell Patterson type. Almost.
Okay.
I think we used. All right. So in the early stages, in the first 2 years, one is that he had dealing with a hamstring injury at one point. I think was one thing that was kind of slowed his growth in the receiving part. But we always used him kind of as a multi-tool, and that would be we'd line him up in the slot. We would throw some wide receiver screens to him and do some things like that.
We should have been lined up in the backfield, G. He played running back out of Ohio State.
We did run end arounds, a lot of kind of misdirection plays. We did use him as a run. The thing with Curtis Samuel is when he touches the ball, he's electric. Yeah. His touches to touchdown ratio is insane. One year he had 12 catches and 4 of them were touchdowns or something. It was just bizarre. But he's made of glass, dude, and he has not even played. I don't know if he's played 2 or 3 games for the Redskins since he hasn't.
He hasn't.
All right, so I have his stats pulled up right here. Okay, according to ESPN, he played 13 or more weeks in 3 seasons. Okay, his rookie season he only played 9 games. In Washington, he played 5 games. Okay, on average, he gets roughly 4 touchdowns a year, and he is targeted anywhere from 65 targets and up to his most, which was in 2019 when he got 105 targets. And that's
and that was with us, right?
That
was what got him paid. That was the 1 year he played the full season. All right, let's go ahead and welcome in Twan John versus everybody. What's up, my man?
What's going on, Tony? What's going on, guys? G baby.
What's good, Twan?
I couldn't get in, man, because I was using the link that.
That happened to me. It was
like telling me that this show had already ended, and I'm just like, I'm like, man, Tony must hate me, man. He's like, I'm not letting I'm like, is this live?
We're sitting here trying to figure out. Let's get back to Robbie Anderson. I wanted to bring the reason it brought it up is like, I like Robbie, but like it's like one of those people that you really like. You're friends with them, but they like wear on you to where it's like at some point you start getting tired of even like being their friend. And Robbie, my man, this week announced that he wanted to change his name from Robbie with a Y to Robbie with an IE. And he said this is like he likes the way it looks better on paper. And when he used to wear number 3, he spelled it IE. My thing is this. What do you do? Like, is like, I want y'all to call me a new name. What is it? Robbie. What? What's the new name? Robbie. Robbie Y. No, Robbie with the IE. Robbie Y. Robbie with the IE. It's so ridiculous. And a guy, he said, I like the way it looks better on paper for a man where his tweets need a damn person to translate them. Robbie, I mean, what is he going to do? Shut down reporters? It is. What is this? What's going on with my man?
Hey, has he gotten any arguments with Baker yet? What's going on there?
No, I haven't heard one thing in camp about him other than this Robbie IE thing. Like, not a thing. I haven't heard a word. I saw him ride into camp with his helmet on. So I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't want to Baker is, I think that was more media hype than reality. I'm starting to believe that when Robbie said that on Twitter, he really meant he was trying to stick up for Sam. But since then, he showed up for press conference today, laughing and giggling and joking. So one of the sideline reporters there at the press conference sneezed or something, and Robbie looked and said, "Somebody get that man some hand sanitizer." So,
okay. We got Y Big Jordan in the house. How you doing, my friend?
What's up, Tony? What's up, everybody?
Big Jordan.
Hey, DF, he's a Browns fan, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You in here, DF?
Yep.
All right,
Let me mute my TV real quick. Hold
on. We have a Browns fan in here, so they know I'm not lying. You list, Tony. I want you to list off some things that make you mad about Robbie, and I'm gonna list off some things about Baker. And if I'm lying, my man DF won't tell me I'm lying. So go ahead and list off one thing, something about Robbie. Because first of all, Baker also called out his fans. Did I lie?
Nope.
Baker called out his training staff.
Yep, he did.
Baker spoke on Duke Johnson's contract situation to the media publicly.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like that was a little bit overblown, but yeah, he did.
You should never do that.
Yeah, no.
So why are we so mad at Robbie? We don't keep the same energy for Baker.
The Browns mad? The Browns fan is mad at Robbie?
I'm talking about Panthers.
No. Why Big Jordan is saying why are we? I wouldn't say I'm not mad at Robbie. I'm just like this. I have this one friend who I love dearly, but he gets shit-faced drunk every time. It's like it's just exhausting.
It becomes annoying as fuck.
Yeah, and it's just like, dude. And then people who don't know him too are like, "What the fuck's wrong with this dude?" And you're like, "Oh, it's just Perry. You just got to deal with it. It's all right. He means well." It's just
Tony,
like
then they start questioning you.
Same thing with Baker.
Yes.
They're like, why don't you know Baker?
You know, or the other thing is too, or the other thing is too, they go on a podcast.
You said because I don't know
now.
Baker, I can't say that.
Yeah.
That makes no
No,
sense.
we're saying that about Robbie. Is that Robbie
we're not used to having Baker on the team, so we're not used to anything with Baker.
Yeah, like he hasn't done anything to piss me off yet.
Yeah,
he ain't done nothing to piss me off yet.
So,
like, how about this? When Robbie Anderson,
says it again, then yeah. But
yeah.
I'm gonna say this as you know, as far obviously the first I went was in college football, and I just and I'm just speaking from a football player stand. Like, I think a lot of times with fans get caught up in like the little shit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I don't give a fuck if Robbie changes his damn name to Mary Magdalene or Baker Mayfield did XYZ or whatever. The goal is, how are they going to perform for the Panthers? And that's the only shit that I really.
Y'all got to treat them both the same way. Because if we can't say that about Baker and then not.
I got you, but
treat Robbie the same way.
I just think that people gonna get into this Baker and Robbie beef, and it's just like that shit don't matter. It's just like, man, how are they gonna perform on the field? Because even if they get along and we go 2-15, it's not gonna mean shit at the end of the year. We ain't gonna like either one of them.
And I would just say this is Baker right now. We have no history with Baker.
That's what I meant.
Myself as a fan, I have zero history. So like he hasn't had the opportunity to like when Robbie Anderson came into the Panthers, I didn't go, oh, this is the jackass who told that cop he was going to nut in his wife's eye.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about that.
I didn't say that. I didn't hold that against him. In fact, I was like, hey, I like Robbie because of that. Like what I'm saying is this is Robbie's antics of who's that bear, my name, like that was cute 2 years ago. Now it's like it's just like this is like, I don't know. What I'm saying is this. I'm not even upset. It's like, hey, Robbie Anderson, his name has been missing in this training camp. I know it's only been 3 days. I just want to know. I want to know is where's Robbie at? Is he like if you are it was Ty Gurley said this. He said, if you want to hoot with the Owls, you got to soar with the Eagles. And he was talking about, like, if you want to go party at night, like on Friday, Saturday night, you better show up on Sunday and ball out. Then you can do that. What I'm saying is you can say who's that bear as long as you catch in the football. You can act like my name is Robbie, like saying my name is Rob. It's a different name. Bro, it's a nickname already. Your name's Robert.
Yeah, I want to side with Tony on that, man, because Tony, you're exactly right, man, and that was the point I was trying to make. It's like what he's saying is Robbie's not fucking good enough yet for us as fans to even be talking about him and the antics and whatever he's doing to cause attention. He's not good enough yet for us to even be fucking talking about like that. When all these guys who are balling out in practice and doing what they need to be doing, we need to be discussing those guys. I just think that nowadays we concentrate on the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? We should be talking about what we should be discussing what our new offensive linemen are doing and how that offense is gelling together. Fuck Robbie Anderson. If he wants to be change his name and shit, if he wants to be Prince, that's not news. And then our PR department's got to stop focusing on that shit, man, and reporting real shit back to the fans. We want to know what the people who are here to play and do right by the Panthers and win are doing. Now, if Robbie and somebody got an argument today, or Baker and Robbie ain't getting along, that's some soap opera, Oprah bullshit.
So are they hiding the truth then, Tuan, of what's really going on?
Look, we just want to know what's going on that's going to help us win.
I think that's my point, G baby, is that there is really nothing going on. And what I mean by that is like I just haven't heard, oh man, Robbie Anderson looked fantastic today. Terrace Marshall Jr. really
How about fucking Ian Thomas? Didn't we just pay this motherfucker a bag?
No, I think he's on like a 1-year deal or something.
Ian Thomas?
No, it's a 3-year deal that is front end heavy, so that way we can cut him if we need to.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see Tommy Trimble's name.
Yeah,
I mean, I want to hear those. That's all I'm saying is I thought it would be fine if Robbie had this offseason where he's bantering with fans and he comes out there and he's just like fucking mauling it. But it's just been quiet.
No, man.
He just started.
We got to stop giving our energy to dumb shit. And just look, we ain't going to
all right. Well, can I give you some more dumb shit energy real quick, man?
I mean, I love dumb shit interviews.
All right.
No, when I say
I am been on fire this week.
The Carolina Panthers are presenting to us. When you go to the Panthers website and anything they got like on that webpage, you know what I'm saying, that's discussing stupid shit.
Thank you. That's fucking ridiculous. It never used to be like this.
The Panthers did the most disappointing thing that they have ever done as an organization this week for me. And that is after day one of training camp, we saw you saw a 4-man rush. You saw Dunk on Demand on Twitter putting up, they went to training camp and they put up a couple of pictures and clips. Nothing new. Nothing new under the sun. Stuff that I did in 2014. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking my camera out there, just posting some stuff. No big deal, but it generates fan excitement. It generates discussion. The next day, they come out and the team policy is that fans are not supposed to be taking pictures and posting videos of training camp. And what I'm so disappointed in this team for this is because this is just a continued effort by the rich to monopolize the content.
I'm glad Tony said something because I was about to get on the phone with my people and go crazy because my people reported back to me that went to go record because we were supposed to be showing that shit live. Was that they couldn't record and that, you know, none of that shit. They couldn't take pictures and whatever. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, that happened. That happened the first
Thursday. It was Wednesday. Day one. Wednesday. They were okay with it, and then
have no respect for the fucking fans anymore.
They don't give a fuck about us. I've been trying to tell you guys, man.
Rashad from PNP was going to live stream it Wednesday.
Well, that is probably pushing the edge a little bit.
Well,
they ain't gonna let you show all that shit.
But they now he had a video of a guy standing up there and said there will be no cameras, there will be no pictures, there will be no nothing.
God,
that's what got me confused because I saw this. I was at work and I saw this guy up there, and I'm thinking, wow. That's dumb. But then later on, I go home and I look on the internet, and there's 4-man rush has got something like Tony, like you said. Everybody's got something. I thought, well,
they want to control the fucking narrative, man. They want to control it.
Well, they want to.
Tony, so did they tell 4-man? Did they tell them they couldn't do it anymore? Because my people, rented hotels to go film and everything, and they told them they couldn't do it.
Nothing.
Yeah, I
the
think
only
that's
ones that are allowed to do it is the authorized people that Panthers.com says.
That's bullshit.
I mean, the simple solution to it would be to just go ahead and, like, if I was part of the Panthers organization, I would be reaching out to all these YouTubers like C3, PNP, like all these guys would do Panther content and try to get them under the umbrella, like put them on the payroll. So then you have a say over the content and you're helping out these podcasts, these creators. That would look a hell of a lot better than saying, "Hey, you guys can't record." When I caught wind of it, I was like, "Yo, this is weak as hell." Like, I'm looking on YouTube and there's no videos. Like, there's little 30-second clip. Like, I don't. Like, I forget who it was that said it, but it's mad disrespectful to the fans and these content creators. Like,
corporate greed. It's corporate greed, and the thing I just want to finish on, and my last statement, I'll let you guys get back on it, is that in a time, the irony of this policy is that in a time where for the last 4 years, the interest in the Carolina Panthers has only declined among fans. Right, is training camp has become less interesting for the last 4 years. The season has become less interesting for the last 4 years. The NFL draft has become less interesting. The hopes and dreams for Panther fans have become less interesting. The desire to go to football games for fans and spend all that money and go out there has become less interesting. So in a time where you want to generate interest, you're actually kind of putting a divide up because you're scared you're going to miss out on $4,000 or $5,000 worth of revenue potentially.
Yeah.
They want you to go to Panthers.com. They want you to watch the Panthers.com YouTube video. But here's the thing: they don't even have like a great content creation model. Really, is that like, and they've always been good in what they put out, but I think they're really missing out on the conversation part. Why is Darren Gant not doing a report after training camp at the end of the practice?
Hey Tony, can I speak on this? Because I did a show about this about a year and a half ago. So, and G Baby's gonna blow his fucking top when I tell you. So David Tepper, man. Notice I said his name first. So David Tepper got with some guys, and they decided with our social media. If you guys remember back, we were voted first. About 4 years ago, the Carolina Panthers were actually, believe it or not, were actually voted. They said we had the #1 social media department.
I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that too.
And David Tepper felt like we shared too much with social media or whatever. And, you know, although he didn't attach his name to it the way they did, his name was brought up. But, you know, anything that goes on with the Panthers, he's going to have his hands in. So David Tepper felt like they were doing too much with it, and he restricted it. It didn't go into why he restricted some of the social media situations with the Carolina Panthers. But with everything Tony just named, he said it's been within the last 3 to 4 years, mainly the last 3. Guys, I ask y'all, and this is the way G Baby loses his shit. What's changed in the last 3 years? Tepper and Matt Rhule. Everything he just ran down, Tepper and Matt Rhule. Tepper has his hands in shit he knows nothing about just to put his hands in it.
Bro, I told you he made fucking Ron Rivera, which is a Super Bowl winning linebacker that was on the best defense in the Chicago Bears, change his fucking defense, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the. But then going back to what Tony said, but when all of that bullshit is over, David Tepper still wants you to spend more money for tickets.
Yeah.
He still wants you to go to the websites and buy shit. He still wants you to buy this, do that. And it's just like, fuck the fans, bro.
I think it's a antiquated model, and look, we got a couple of YouTube creators up here on this right on this panel right now. Some from even a different fan base. I got in, and I know I'm the old hat in this room when it comes to this stuff. But when we first started, the first piece of content I put on the internet was called the Halftime Hangout. And it was Joey and I where we on Google Hangouts. It was the first thing you could ever use to stream live on the internet. The first thing ever you could do this really just from a regular computer. And we would get up and talk during halftime. As a way we kept our friendship up. We used to be college roommates. He moved away. So I've been on the internet since live streaming this kind of stuff since it was in its infancy. And I've seen a lot of creators come and go. I've seen a lot of people do a lot better than me, but one thing that I always have been irritated about is when we see each other as like bad competition for each other. Like, here's the thing is that a rising tide lifts all boats. The more we're talking, look, the fact is the more that we're talking about the Panthers on Friday night, these 170 people right now, that enhances the value of the Panthers organization. So that's why, like, when I see another YouTuber who has the same type of content or the same genre, I retweet their mess. I share their mess because the more discussion we build, the bigger the discussion will get every day. And there's more for us to all eat on. And that's where I think this is the antiquated model is that, like, you want people to talk about the Panthers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you.
Say that shit again, Tony. Damn, I like that.
I couldn't agree with you more because, like, just me personally, I see that a lot with, like, Browns creators and stuff like that. Like, the top of the top guys, I'm not going to name drop because I'm not here to talk shit, but, like, you'll get those people who are just like, nope, I won't retweet, I won't comment on anybody else's shit. Like, I've never understood that mentality of like, hey, just because you do the same stuff, like, screw you. Like, that's not how it should be. Like, y'all are Panthers fans. Y'all got to lift each other. Y'all got to be a fan base connected. Same thing with us. Like, we fight all the time on Browns Twitter. It's just like, get over your shit and let's be fans. That's what it should be.
That's the wildest thing. Is like last year when they I forget what it was called, but it was like Tony. It was you, Tony, with Cody, and then it was Dave and Shot and Pat Coltrane was like moderating this. Like that was one of those were like some of the dopest fucking vids. Like you have all these YouTube content creators, they come together to do this little show, share their opinion. Like you said, a rising tide lifts all. What they're doing is counterproductive. Like it make it make sense. Like we as Panther fans want as much information. I can't speak for everybody else, but I like every season I do the same thing. I do it with the South Carolina Gamecocks. Like I'm like, man, I'm not gonna pay nearly as much attention. I ain't buying no NFL Sunday ticket. I ain't about to spend my money on any of this shit. And as the season starts to get closer, I'm on my phone. Yo, is there any news out about the Panthers? Yo, did we pick up anybody? Oh shit, we got him. Oh wait, yo, we might be good. This next thing you know, football season upon us. I'm spending my money on the NFL Sunday ticket. I'm trying to absorb as much content as possible. I'm at school with my headphones in, listening to podcast after podcast because everybody else is going to have a differing opinion. And then I come across somebody that I'm like, yo, man, what are you talking? That don't make none of that makes sense. And then actually, that does kind of. Why are you like? Why are you trying to stop the flow of information? Like the more that's out there, the more like fans from other fans of other teams are gonna want to know. Like, the Panthers are popping. Yo, let's go check them. Let's go to the Panther shit and talk shit to them. Like, I enjoy that. I can't play. I can't do sports and shit anymore. So here's where they missing the point on it, and you're right on the money on this. Is that the people who are on this show right now, the people who are watching this type of content right now, are like the diehard of diehard fans. You know what I'm saying? And not that, and I am not a gatekeeper fan. I don't care if you only check in on once or twice on the team. You're still a fan. You're cool with me. But what I'm saying is this: is the people that are on this panel right now can't get enough. Right? It's like this, and so here's what we do though, because of our hyper interest in this team, they see us talking about regular people who are fans, but more casual in their content consumption. Go, oh, I heard Baker had a tough day in training camp today or something like that. If there was only one centralized media source, they would never run across that. So by them running onto this channel, they're going to go to Panthers.com today and go, oh, wait, are they talking about that bullshit Robbie Anderson IE stuff? Or do they got, and it's going to just continue to push. It's like, so I don't know. It's just this was a very irritating thing to me. And what is really irritating to me about it, or at least I think an irony, is Bill Voth is the czar of Panthers media. And DF is Bill Voth is from Cleveland and is a Cleveland Browns fan, by the way.
What?
Bill. Yeah, I mean, and because he came to Charlotte and he was in TV media, he was working as a reporter.
Hey, well, y'all know Ellis Williams, who now covers the Panthers.
Too.
He came from Cleveland. Yeah, he was with us last year.
You know something wild? I listen to WFNZ. We're a lot like JD does. While I live in Bristol, I don't get a lot of local news about the Panthers. So I'll listen all day long to WFNZ when I can get away with it at work. Because and I don't really like the other sports. I just don't. I'm a big football guy. But I'll listen to it all day in hopes that I'll hear just a little bit of Panther talk and a little bit of Panther updates. The day we traded for Baker Mayfield, Nick Wilson announced, the WFNZ radio host, that he was moving back to Cleveland and taking a job at a radio station up there.
Yeah,
so almost like it was just by coincidence.
Like, and he was so hyped to get Baker Mayfield here, and then once he got Baker Mayfield here, he had to leave. Exactly. But I want to. My last point with Bill Voth is the irony of this is that Bill Voth started this kick-ass website in 2014 called Black and Blue Review. Yep. He was one of the first independent, like he said, this is like newspapers are dying.
TV shows are dying, and he tried to create a one-man professional reporting model with Black and Blue Review. It was dope. And he would get out, and he was by himself, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He would put the camera up. He would do this. He would do all the content. And really, basically, at the end of the day, and this was as we were trying to build our website, and ours is just for fun, man. I have a career. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was trying to make this his career.
Right.
And he realized this is it's too hard for one person to pierce through the corporate shit. And because, you got to sell, he was being a webmaster. He was being the news creator. He was trying to sell ads. He was trying to do everything. Well, he ended up landing a job with Panthers.com. And you know what they do is Panthers.com, just a lot of their content is kind of Black and Blue Review style content. Like, he would do the same, like you would see those same kind of rhythms of the coverage and stuff, at least a few years ago. I just think there's an irony to it, to a guy who was in independent media is now part of the czar of the media department that is trying to stamp out this.
And Darren Gant used to be one of his sidekicks who went from the Charlotte Observer and the Pro Football Talk
to Gastonia or something like that.
Yeah,
Not Gastonia.
exactly.
He went somewhere. Rock Hill. He went to Rock Hill, maybe.
Yeah. I think he was with the Charlotte Observer. They kicked him to host a college show one off season or one season. Oh, I went off. I called Charlotte Observer up and ended up talking to this guy I've never talked to before. At the time, a reporter that I didn't know I was talking to really was a guy named Joe Person. I on the phone, and now this is way back in the day, and I chewed him out because they were switching Darren Gant, and Joe was like, dude, he's my friend, I know it, I'm just going to do the best I can. I cover the Panthers. We talked a little bit. I apologize for going off, but back in the day when Twitter first opened, Darren Gant was one of the only folks you could follow that gave you true Panther coverage.
And he remember he went and worked for what's the Pro Football Talk, the one that's and then he got not fired, I guess released in one of their contractions. I think it was because he's not as clickbaity as they need to be.
He never was that way.
He's an old school newspaper man. You know what I'm saying? Yep. That's what he is. He's a newspaper man, and he's good. He's a very good reporter. Yep. It's just really strange, man, to me that the Panthers are kind of closed-minded on this.
I don't know why, because it's like what we just said with Robbie, right? The Carolina Panthers ain't fucking good enough to be closed off from nothing.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we keeping a secret? What are we keeping a secret? If anybody stole our secrets from the past couple of years, they'll be shitty like we are.
Well, let me
it's definitely not secrets. Yeah, that is not what they're worried about.
This year I think we're going to be great, but what the fuck are we hiding? Nobody is sending drones up our practice trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing, bro.
We're going to run a quarterback system.
I hate to say this, but who in the fuck do we think we are?
I know. Well, and it's really that's what tells you that it's not about the playbook. It's not about that. It's about content ownership.
Right.
It's about the monopolization of the product. It is, when we were a website, and this is funny, is that I beg people to smash the thumbs up button on this show. I literally beg people to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, tune in. Mm-hmm. In 2014, when we were first getting started, I'm talking about a website that got like 1,000 hits a week or something, like nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Like 100 views on YouTube over a week or something. We did a fan contest where I bought 2 tickets, and I said, if you send us a video and tell us why you're a Panthers fan, we're going to have a contest, and best video wins the tickets. We probably got only 5 submissions, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like this mug. But guess who emailed? Guess who the fuck emailed?
It's really like that.
The Carolina Panthers lawyer emailed me. And he said, you're not allowed to give away tickets in contests. They did let us. He said, "We'll let you do it this one time." But he said, if you flip over the ticket, it says this ticket's property for the Carolina Panthers. So basically, I mean, and the thing is that if they're going to give away ticket contests, they don't want to fuck with their sponsors or whatever. But I just thought it's so funny is I can't even get the Panthers to acknowledge that we exist, but you fucking do one little thing like that, and they're like, "What the fuck y'all doing up here on this thing called the internet?"
Tony, what you should have told him was that under economic law and entertainment law, that when you purchase that ticket went from Carolina Panthers from their business to your business.
Let me tell you,
have a disclaimer, dude.
Let me tell you how some of this stuff works, folks.
Let me finish real quick. Now you own that ticket. You have the rights to that ticket to do whatever the fuck you wish to do. And what I would have told him is stop fucking with me and take your ass outside of that stadium and go to these guys that are scalping if you're that concerned about who these tickets are going to.
Well, that's
He's not going to do anything like that. He wants to fuck with the people that are actually trying to make the Panthers look good.
They have a loophole on the back that basically says that you can't do. I mean, it was crazy. I was like, oh, well, my bad. I was like, dude, can you get us an interview with a player? Like, please, like, hey. I mean, like, but I just thought it was funny. Like, how the fuck did they find that on the internet?
Yeah,
because they're watching.
Yeah, let me. Does anybody on here? Has anybody on here streamed per se a Madden game online?
Yeah, they do that all the time, though.
Yeah, I did it, and here's what I did. Now this is a couple years ago.
That's supposed to be like
how to do it. I had a PS4 once, right? And I figured out how to do it, and I set it all up. I was so excited, so I streamed this game, and after I got done, the next morning I looked because I wanted to see if anybody noticed it, and it was flagged because I didn't mute the music that was playing on it. Yeah. And it was a copyright violation of people who own the music.
Yeah, dude.
That was on the Madden
They get you bad.
Oh yeah, you'll get dinged for everything on YouTube.
That blew me away, and it's like
you can play the game, you just can't play the music because they don't own the music.
I realized that later.
Oh well, you know what? You actually don't get in trouble for it. You don't get in trouble for it. Like anytime you get demonetized for it, and what that means is your video. They just take the money that you would have made off of that video, like the 5 cents, and they give it to that. They give it to that person.
I got
instead.
A channel strike.
Oh, really?
That I had to get removed. I had to email and talk with you, whoever it was. I don't know who it was at YouTube, but because I was talking about Mac Wilson, who we had at linebacker, and it was training camp, and I was talking about it, and I threw in one of his like preseason highlights, and it was no joke, like 5 seconds, and I got a strike off of that.
A real strike. Oh, those are big. Yeah.
To this day, I still have a warning, even though it's gotten removed. Like that's how extreme YouTube is with it.
Yeah, it's just...
I got a strike one time where I was at training, and this is funny. Here's a good training camp story for you. This would have been the 2015 training camp, I think. I was there and I did like a little video, like a live report kind of thing, and the music that they were playing on the field, got me dinged. And I was like, damn it, man. Like, I mean, like you can't even go to a bar. Like if you were at the club and you were being like, hey, I'm with Cam Newton right now. Look at this. And then it's like, bang, bang, bang. So it's tough. It's tough out there. Let's get back to football a little bit though. And instead of me just moaning about how my YouTube channel makes $8.
Let me,
more than mine.
That's a good $8.
One thing this week I went off on was the left tackle and left guard spot. I really blew my mind that Michael Jordan is actually competing with Brady Christensen for the left guard spot.
Yeah, that blows my mind.
Y'all have Ohio State Michael Jordan?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not know y'all had him. Wow.
They're supposed to. I mean, they're supposed to let him. They're supposed to let him compete. He's not going to do the job.
Hey, Swan. I wanted to ask you a question real quick, G. How do you feel about that Jaycee Horn, G, being on the list, G?
On the what list?
Pup.
The what?
The Publis.
I don't know. What did we?
He's on the physically unable to perform list because of his.
The pup list. The pup list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Oh, you don't know about that now, G?
No, I'm just saying I don't know. I don't know why he's on
healthy.
We're waiting to reserve. Here, before we get in that, let me welcome in a couple of people who've been trying to get into the show for a minute. We got Jim here. Jim, Panther fan, introduce yourself, please.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm just a Browns fan, like DF Sports.
Oh, Browns fan. Browns fan. All right,
what's
up, this is awesome.
I don't know if you remember or not. I was actually commenting when Cody, I think that's his name, who usually runs his stream. Yeah, he was talking trash about Mayfield. I was dropping stats for him.
He does that
he
quite
scared
often.
a few of them. Yeah.
Oh, he has
been.
He has been fighting hard today with the Panthers creators about this overthrow. He has this pick, and they have been debating: is this an overthrow or not? And like, I just want to say, maybe you should just say it was a high ball, like it was high.
It was a high ball.
But they must have argued for 4 hours about this one picture. All right, let's keep pounding in here. Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Hey, man. How you feeling about this training camp?
Pretty good. I was only out there for day one, but I liked what I saw so far. The line's gelling pretty well. We'll see what happens.
Hey, let me ask you a question real quick. So there's kind of a debate among Browns fans, or there was, I should say, about the real height of Baker Mayfield. I think he's listed at like 6 foot, but I know a girl who sat next to him. Y'all are gonna laugh. I swear to God, I'm telling the truth. She sat next to this man at the Cheesecake Factory in it was the year he got drafted, so 2018. And she said, now, you know, I've been around this girl. I know how tall she is. She said that he is a little taller than her, and this girl is not that tall. So I just want to know from your standpoint. I mean, you saw the man. I just want to know, does he look smaller in person or what? Because that's a debate.
Possibly.
Dang.
You know, it's hard to tell where you're looking.
I saw some official measurements that put him like at like 6 feet, like, but not over 6, like, I don't know, between 6 feet and 6'1". Like,
right.
I know he's listed as 6'1".
Yeah,
like,
he's listed as 6'1". I list myself.
He needs to wear bigger. He needs to wear bigger heels so to make him taller, right?
Yeah, I think it was his combine. I'm trying to remember where it was because it was
he was listed at 6 foot and a half.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And that was like an official measurement.
6 was good though, because I think.
I don't think it's 6 feet, but I wouldn't give a fuck if he's 6'5". Is he going to win ball games?
Exactly. That's fair. Yeah, I think it all depends on how your all's line holds up.
Is he going to win?
Well, he better than Slam Darnold.
Well, I will tell you this. I list myself at 5'10", but the doctor fucking ruined my whole self-perception.
Everybody always trying to embellish with the height, bro.
Nah, 5'9". It was 5'9"3/4. Like, so, and that girl pushed that thing so hard down on my head. I felt like she was trying to drill me into the planet, bro. I was like, oh, bro.
Man. Hey, Tony, it's called reality. Hey, Tony, it's called reality when they do that.
Tony should have screamed concussion.
I had a chick one time when I went.
You mean you're not going to do it from the top of my hair?
I had a chick one time measure me when I was like crouched down a little bit, bro. I'm 6'2". She measured me at like, I think she measured me at like 5'11" or something, and I'm like, I'm sorry, that is not right.
To put it on your ear. Well, you know what? Is sometimes I just don't want to know the real truth. You might call it reality, Twandine, but I just want to have a belief.
I know,
there was a time in my life that I thought that Jim Abbott. You guys know who Jim Abbott is?
Is that the boxer?
No, the former the one-handed baseball player. This is before the internet, bro. Before the internet, where you got your stats out the back of the card. Jim Abbott was a one-handed pitcher, and I swear, in my real memory, I remembered seeing a stat that said he hit a home run. And I was like, my life. And then I finally went and Googled it later on, and it turns out it wasn't true. And my world was just better when Jim Abbott had hit a home run. My world was better when I thought I was 5'10".
Hey man, my uncle said it's 2 measurements on a man's body that we don't like being fucked with.
And I talk about your feet.
Man, we got to come to the truth with about both of them, man. I mean,
well, at least we're not having the small hands conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Baker.
You know the double glove demon up there in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I know. People are really worried about it. So, all right, let's get back to training camp here. Did Keep Pounding bounce? He dipped out. I guess he fell out. All right, so training camp. The top highlights of our news has been about the competition between the quarterback. We've talked about that. We've talked about some of the questions in the receiving. Now let's shift to the secondary. Let's kind of pivot back to that Jaycee Horn hurt injury thing, but this gives opportunity for some other guys to get in the game, right? And that is Keith Taylor. Keith Taylor's one. Who was this guy that we drafted real late from Baylor?
Man, fuck him, man. I was like, hey, we need to play Chris Westry, man.
That's who I'm talking about. Isn't that the dude that ran was from Baylor that ran the like
Barnes. It's like running 4-1 or something like 4-2.
No, we signed Chris Westry at a free agency. Man, he's 6'4". He's fast. Man, I'm telling you guys.
That's the guy that came from Baltimore, right?
Yes. Don't sleep on Chris Westry.
Bill Snow
likes his name again.
Well,
speed.
If he was really good, then why is he with us now? Why is he still in Baltimore?
He's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
I always question that type of shit.
Wait, hey,
we should have never let Gilly walk. We should have. Now, I'll repeat it again. We should have never let Gilly walk. Period.
All right, let's go to DF. Go ahead, DF.
I'm sorry, but I've got to ask you guys this as, somebody who's obviously a different fan. You guys as Panthers fans, what's your thoughts on Lamar? Do you think he's God's gift to a quarterback like some of these Ravens fans think?
Oh man, we're not going to help you.
I think Lamar's top 10.
He had a bad year last year, but he's still top 10.
He's declined every year since his MVP.
I like to see somebody, and I know people will say it ain't possible, but as a Panther fan, it is possible. I want to see what happens when Lamar can't run and he has to stand in the pocket and rely on people to catch the ball.
Well, let me tell you what I was told.
Hoping that he can't run. That's kind of
no. I didn't say that. I hope he can't, dude. Tell me you don't remember them games when Cam Newton couldn't run and he had to prove
that guy is going to be just fine.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not disrespecting Lamar Jackson at all. I'm just saying I want to see what he can do if for whatever reason. That he can't run outside the pocket. He has to stand in the pocket.
Pickle, what's going on is, and I'm saying this in good fun. The Browns fan is trying to get us as Panthers fan involved in their beef.
I just want your opinion, bro, because I was told
himself if we don't like Lamar either.
Hey, listen, here's the thing. You got to understand. I'm told on the daily that Lamar is a top 5 quarterback. I'm told. I had somebody tell me that if Lamar didn't have the legs that he had, he would still be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, man.
You know what is this? Is you are kind of coming into the Lions' den asking that question for us because we got some kind of. Here's the thing: is like your Lamar right away. Is that we can't answer that question this year for Lamar because they put a bunch of bums around him.
He'll be
right.
Good in
like
Miami.
I mean, he doesn't have it, so it's going to be hard to answer that question. Here's the thing: is when you have a player who has the ability to run like he does. Like Twan was saying, you don't want to take that away from him. Right? So if you need him to be the type of player Peyton Manning was, then you're that's not what he is. I don't think I think he's a top 10 quarterback with the potential to be a top 5 quarterback.
I mean, he did win an MVP.
Right. Yeah. And that the idea is that like, but on a team like right now, you just got to be worried that maybe the Ravens are going to do to him what we did to Cam, which
Gave
is
him a
like
tight
say,
end and that's it.
Good luck.
Let me tell you guys, and DF, I just picked you because I happen to know the other beef with Cleveland fans. When that team left Cleveland, y'all became what?
We didn't become nothing. They were
anti-Baltimore fans.
We kept our team.
The Cleveland kept the Cleveland Browns.
We got the history. We got everything. We kept the Browns.
Yeah.
But it divided your house because a lot of those guys didn't come back.
You mean
from what I actually understand, a lot of I actually live in North Carolina as a Cleveland fan, so it's kind of funny. I live in Raleigh. But from what I understand, because I've got a brother who lives in Cleveland, is that a lot of Cleveland fans, like when they left, they actually became Steelers fans. And so he actually hates the Steelers more than he hates the Ravens.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate Steelers.
I want to give, while I got 2 Browns fans on the line, I do want to give y'all some props as fans. There's a watering hole I go to down the street from my house, and that is the place where Browns fans go and watch their games every year.
Oh, the backers bar?
Yeah. I mean, and I just want to say I appreciate a fan base that can keep interest through so much difficulty. Like, I mean, I feel like the same way for maybe a Lions fan. Like, we have been moaning on this podcast. Like, one of the things is Cody Lashney is relatively new to the podcast. Like, he's my co-host, but I've been doing it. He came on 4 years ago, but like we haven't had a winning season since he's been on the podcast. And it gets tough. It gets tough talking about it's a lot more fun. Let's just say this shit was really easy and fun in 2015, bro. Like, I mean, when Cam Newton's MVP, we were dabbing almost. We were doing everything. But I just want to say this, is that I really appreciate that commitment because these guys they decorate the bar. They fucking, they are crazy. Like cheering, and they'll be like, I'll be like, why are you cheering so hard? They'd be like, we completed a goddamn pass, motherfucker. Like, he's like,
if I could just
that's my brother. My brother real Brown fans.
I remember watching the Steelers Browns playoff game from the 2002 season, so it would have been 2003. I remember watching it with my dad. I was 10 years old.
I ain't even gonna lie, man.
Hey, the Browns are gonna win, Dad. The Browns are gonna win, and they ended up losing. And he was like, "Son, welcome to Cleveland Browns football."
Yeah.
Do you is it like it's almost a? All right, so I'm a Cubs fan, and I have a bizarre reason why I'm a Cubs fan.
The feeling.
Is that one of the things is it almost becomes like a cool part of your identity to be the lovable loser. And then when you have success and you win, you've got to really, you're like, now we got to do this all the time. It's like almost, is that with the Cubs? It was just always like, hey, man, this is just kind of part of the life. We're going to drink beer and watch the baseball game. And then now it's like, oh, we really suck again?
Yeah. Yeah. And like DF said this at the beginning when he first got on, that like Baker was exactly what the Browns needed in 2018 to like really be like, hey, like we can win games, we can do this
kind of thing. And we kind of outgrew him. And that's kind of like, I mean, you all been to a Super Bowl, 2 Super Bowls really in my like NFL like watching career.
Right, your lifetime, yeah.
Yeah, my lifetime. And that's what I hope he does for you all, because like personally, I actually really like Christian McCaffrey and really want to see him on a winning team for once. And so like I hope he does that to you all, so you all like don't become.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey is holding us back. I'm tired of people making it seem like we're
Well,
holding
like,
him
and I hope he doesn't like.
I know I'm gonna lose a lot of people with that, but I'm tired of the Christian McCaffrey. He can't stay healthy. It ain't the Carolina.
No, I agree. I really hope he does this season. I really hope he does.
Christian need to get his shit together.
Yeah.
Overblown narrative. That's an overblown narrative. This is you guys are falling in to the allure of the 24-hour media cycle.
It's not 24 hours though. It's 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, Tony. I own C-Max jersey. I call him white chocolate, bro. I'm telling you right now.
There's only one white chocolate.
Hey, I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, dude. I'm a biggest Christian McCaffrey fan. If that motherfucker don't get it together this year, G, we gotta trade him and get him for fucking value. Just like we need to trade Jaycee fucking Horn right now. Get as much fucking value as we can right fucking now.
Hey, you have me with the CMC.
I don't know about
We need to trade Jaycee Horn, man.
Trade him to Cleveland.
Okay, let's get this straight.
We need to get him the fuck out of here while we can get the value now. I'm telling you guys right now.
They will be lined up
This
for
show
Jaycee
alone,
Horn,
G Baby's done traded Robbie Anderson, Jaycee Horn, Christian McCaffrey. He done traded half a damn team. Pretty soon we're gonna be the Carolina nobody.
Hey, Shaq Thompson can get the fuck out of Carolina
I say
too.
we'll trade Shaq Thompson too.
We can't trade
Listen, I
him.
tell you what, Browns, we'll trade you a fan named G Baby. Perfect fit for guys. Never happened.
Hey, he'll fit it right in. These are the words we have.
No,
shots across the bow.
Browns jersey.
I get where G Baby is coming from. Like
G Baby, you don't want to be no Browns fan, man. You don't want to be no Browns fan.
Hey, I just want to
We've been a Browns fan for 5 years now.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have. Gee, we've been straight ass for 5 years.
No, we haven't.
I want to let y'all know, James can back me up.
They've been
on the
asked
fact that
50
I've been defending that I've defended Baker nonstop up till last year. By the way,
yeah, I actually watch DF Sports all the time. So hey, man, you make good content. This guy makes good content.
I do want to. I'm going to say this, but my last thing. I mean, we're going to go to back to Baker on this. Is when it comes to Christian McCaffrey, I understand 2 seasons have injuries. Neither of them have been like giant injuries, like surgical repairs, things that threaten your career. All soft tissue injuries, all non-contact. I think that one of the things is just that Carolina has known that he's been the only surefire thing on the team. So it has been an overly protective approach with him. So I think if we were in a playoff hunt, he wouldn't have been put on the injured reserve list to end a season. They would have tried to nurse it, and then say, we'll have him back ready for the playoffs. So I think if he was in Kansas City or if he was with LA last year, he wouldn't have been out for the whole season. So I do think we've been I just don't want you – look, he was very durable for his first 3 years.
His 2019 season is historic.
Yeah. I mean,
my thing is
how old is McCaffrey now?
I think he's 26.
25, 26.
I'll look it up.
Tony, my thing is like, and that gets into another thing. We ain't gonna get into that tonight. But like, we have saved and protected and baby Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
But then you take D-Jack, who stayed just as hurt as him, and we took him back out onto the field hurt.
Thank you.
That's more of Carolina Panthers fuckery. And I'm gonna be done with this. And look,
C-Mac was
the only thing that I'm holding on to now as a Carolina Panthers fan, and don't take this away from me, is that I'm not a Browns fan.
Tell me
I gotta hold on to something, bro. I tell myself I'm not a Browns fan, and that's what keeps me sane.
Oh man, I think you know what would be worse being a Browns fan is being a Lions fan.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine being a podcast.
They have NFL.
I mean, so
it's like, funnily enough, the Lions, like their career record against the Browns is like, I don't know. I looked into this like when they played them last year. they double-digit wins versus like single-digit losses.
But man, now y'all got the team. Yeah. But now y'all got a team where y'all can be really, really, really
so
good.
Sick of this. I won't believe it till I see it, bro.
How many years are we gonna stay that?
I know.
No disrespect.
Hey, there's a different. Hey, there's a different sheriff in town now, buddy.
I would be like, I'm glad.
Is he playing this year?
Yes, he will.
Yes.
It says likely suspension next week.
Yeah, I think he'll get
6.
Hey, the suspension comes next week, you said?
Yeah.
That's the report.
8.
I think 8 games.
6 and under. I'd bet money right now 6 and under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask a question about Baker Mayfield, and we'll start with the Browns guys. You guys watched him. One of the things is like no matter how big of NFL fans you are or we are, is that we get so tunnel locked into our own teams. Is that so throughout the season we have to bring in guests from other teams just because they're watching them at that hyper intensive look like we do. So we know everything about our team, and sometimes we speak on things about other teams that we don't know that well. So one of the things that comes into the discussion when we got Baker Mayfield is that the Carolina Panther fans have been saying that the people that don't like him say he's reckless, careless, turns the ball over too much. If you go and look at it, or at least when I just looked at his season by season record, there were 2 seasons where he had a high turnover ratio, 2 out of 4. So it's been 2 really good ones, 2 not. Am I wrong in saying this, that I know that the last year was tough and the numbers did not look great, but didn't he throw 6 picks in the last 2 games? And is that that finality? Did those last 2 games make the season feel worse than it actually was?
James, you go first.
So I would just push back and say so he threw 14 interceptions 2018 season, 21 the 2019 season, 8 the 2020 season, and then 13 the 2021 season. So he's always been in his Cleveland Browns stint a interception, like a boom or bust kind of guy. So the only year he didn't throw double-digit interceptions was 2020, the first year with Stefanski. As for his last 2 games, so I think it fell off a cliff after the Bengals game. I was actually there at the Bengals game. I was there there for it. I was at Cincinnati for it. It was great. I was really happy I was there for it. But that Patriots game on, I think that's where the wheels came off. He was crap ever since then. And I mean, for whatever reason, right? I'm not trying to say it was the shoulder or not. And I think it really hit the Lions game. I'm not sure when that was in his the last game of the season. But the Lions game was really bad for him. And then you had the Packers game that was really bad for him. And then the Steelers game was horrible. I mean, TJ Watt toyed with him. I mean, it was like a cat and a mouse kind of thing. TJ Watt just messed with him.
Was he hurt with that Patriots game? I see his stats.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been hurt. He was hurt ever since the Texans game. I mean, and it only got worse after the Cardinals game. That's when it got really bad.
Well, the Patriots game became before that.
Should he have played, honestly, in your opinion?
No.
Do you
if he didn't play, he would still be the Browns quarterback. In my opinion.
Do you two Browns fans believe the Halo rumors?
What?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, that he played Halo before
100%.
the Packers game?
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead.
No, you go ahead, DF. Yeah.
No, I just want to answer this question. So here's my thing, right? Because everybody talks about the injury. I'll tell you where my first red flag. I'll take every season that Baker's had away. My first red flag from last season was before he got hurt. It was the Bears game, and I'll tell you why. You look at that game, and you're like, oh, that wasn't a bad game for Baker. That was, he was solid. But I saw Baker miss some easy throws in that game. And at the end of the day, it came down to decision making and just going through your reads and manipulating the pocket, seeing your window. And Go ahead.
As somebody who watched every single game that Baker's played in, like the mistakes he made in the 2021 season are the same mistakes he's made ever since he's been a Browns quarterback. I mean, yeah, like he had a great game in the Chargers.
This is not, you know what?
Yeah.
Guess who said the same thing to us when we brought my friend Scott Mason, who runs the Play Like a Jet podcast. We brought him on when we got Sam Darnold, and he had a lot of good things to say about Sam Darnold. But he said the one thing was this. He said the same things he was messing up with in year 1 is the same things he's messing up in year 3.
And if you like watch his if you just like Google his draft, like the scouting on his like draft, the weaknesses are all what's showing up throughout his whole entire career. Like, so this isn't like something new. You know, this is all stuff that was predicted.
Baker has really bad habits, and this is what you guys will notice. The inconsistency thing is real, and you talked about this turnover ratio. You said 2 out of the 4 years have been really bad, right? Now, here's the thing with that.
You know what? I want to say this is 13 picks is not really bad.
Okay, well,
it's not great, but you want to get under 10.
Compared to the touchdowns, too.
Yeah,
not insane.
17 and 13.
Let me put it to you like this, then. I guess two out of the 4 years has been, I would say, mediocre quarterback play. I think that's fair to say. Now, here's the thing: it wasn't like that was 2 back-to-back years. It was every other season. Baker, his whole career, has been very inconsistent, and sometimes that'll go even game to game, to where you'll see Baker come out and he'll make some pretty good throws. And ironically, my favorite Baker throw of all time was against the Panthers when he rolled left, threw it to
I know exactly, yeah.
back left of the end zone.
Yep.
Those throws you'll see Baker make every once in a while, and it's like, bro, where's that guy? Where is he? And then other times you'll see a wide open Demetric Felton or Odo Beckham Jr. right in front of him, and he just won't throw it. It's just he's got problems. It's the consistency, it's the understanding the defense and going through his reads. And also the last thing, and I said this when I was on with you guys a couple weeks ago, but I'm going to keep saying it because I know you guys said the same thing with Sam Darnold. He panics in the pocket when you get people closing in around him. And I know there was people in the comments section telling me, no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Let me tell you, those are Oklahoma fans. Those are not Browns fans. Baker Mayfield, when you get any pressure on him, he loves to stutter step. He loves to dance around. He'll throw off of his back foot. That's why we rolled him out so much.
And like we thought he was a franchise guy after 2018 season. Like I've gone back and looked game by game, and like all the mistakes are there. I mean, the guy was like 1-7 against teams with winning records, and that one was against the Ravens before they had Lamar Jackson.
I mean, like he just like with teams that like have a semblance of a good defense, they can terrorize him. It's not that great. And that's why I say, like, if the Panthers have a good O-line, I think that will be the most that's the singular most important thing for Baker Mayfield to have success as a quarterback.
Well,
no offensive line.
That's like the worst place in history to that be the necessity. But now we may have our best offensive line. I want to bring this up though. Is
Icky's
kind
a beast. I love Icky.
You know, my son just sent me the stats here. Is look over the last 3 games, Baker threw 7 of his interceptions last year in the final 3 games. I've also heard some rumblings that Baker Mayfield believes that that the team put him in a difficult spot in those final couple of games, trying to push maybe too aggressive. That made it open up to that type of play. Is there anything to that?
Yeah,
I think. Go ahead. Go ahead, DF.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, that's true because, I mean, you can back me up here, James. There was a point in the season where we were running the ball so much that the defenses were literally just coming up, playing us in the box, pressed up, and we had no choice. I mean, we literally had no choice but to start to throw the football. And plus, I also look at it from this standpoint. I think Baker And you got to understand his mentality. I don't care how hurt he is. His mentality is I can do it, even though he can't. Like, that's why he played. So at the same time, we had to start throwing. Baker felt like he could throw, and it was just a disaster. I mean, that Packers game says it all. When you drop back and you throw into, like, triple coverage with a guy wide open. Like, it's those mistakes.
Yeah, no, like that pick against the Packers where he threw it like 50 yards and it was an interception. He had both Njoku and Landry open underneath. Yeah, like I don't think, and I think the injury, because he threw like the majority of his picks in the last few games of the season. I don't think he is as bad as the 2021 season says he is.
No,
like I don't know for sure. He's much better than that. But I do think he is somewhere, and this kind of speaks to his inconsistency. He's somewhere between the 16th best quarterback and the 25th best quarterback when healthy, and with a good O-line. Like, that's where I think he lays.
Boy, y'all win one playoff game and you just forget everything.
You're telling the truth, Tony. Look, I'm glad you
tell you.
Well, wait. Like, we win one playoff game when we forget everything?
Like, what I'm saying is this. Is like, I just like it.
They stars now.
Where does Jared Goff?
I'm teasing about it, but it's like
it's about the roster, because we had the roster build up, and he was the only.
Yeah, that playoff game, we had like 5 turnovers on the defense. I mean,
We put the boat on.
like, there's a reason that Jared Goff made a Super Bowl, but yet the Rams traded him, right? There's a reason that Jimmy Garoppolo made the Super Bowl, yet the Niners don't want him anymore. I mean, there's a reason.
If I can add this real quick, I understand what you're saying about Baker.
Find out that they fucked up.
But let's be real. As worse as he sounds sometimes, he's still an upgrade over Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'll say this: I actually really like Baker Mayfield. Like, it sounds like I don't like him. I actually really do like Baker Mayfield. I really, no joke. I want you all to make the playoffs. I really want Baker Mayfield to succeed.
I'm not like some people. I'm not saying Baker's an elite. I'm saying Baker's an average quarterback. Sam's kind of way down here below average. Sam's so far down, he's pretty much in poor. All right,
I don't disagree with that at all. I don't disagree with that at all.
High school.
The thing that Baker gives me that I like is his fire, right? Sam doesn't have any fire. I mean, he doesn't have nothing. He doesn't have no fire. He don't have no charisma. Now, in training camp, he does. But if I chatted with Jet fans, he does that all the time. He looks like he's hot as fire in training camp.
Because ain't nobody gonna hit his ass.
Exactly, he knows it. He ain't dumb. You know? I've said it countless times.
I'll be brave as hell too in training camp.
That's not true, by the way.
Jay Young just said that Baker's better than Kirk Cousins. Like, no, he's not.
No,
he's
not.
Never had a season better than Kirk Cousins since Kirk Cousins started being a full-time starter.
And he's not even close to Dak Prescott. Just
never. Like, he's not. Like, there's objectively, he's not. Like, by every measure.
Let me speak on why, what I think. Well, what we know is was half of Baker Mayfield's problem. Baker Mayfield, when you're the guy that kind of remains humble, and every now and then if you fuck up, people don't look at you as hard. It's just like they're more willing to work with you, or they don't say as much. Baker Mayfield was such a dickhead when he got in front of the cameras and shit. I'm just being for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, no joke.
For sure.
When he fucked up. So when people don't like you, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, and then you start fucking up on top of it, then it's just like any little mistake you make on a football field is under a microscope. You know what I'm saying?
No,
then you got people that then want you to fuck up.
Yeah. I think Max Kellerman said it best. I never say this ever about Max Kellerman, but after the 2019 season, he was just like, Baker's not a baller, right? And players are going to look to him and say, bro, OBJ is going to say to Baker, hey, you're not a baller. And it was true. It's true. Like what you're saying is absolutely true.
Because he didn't humble himself. It's just like
absolutely.
Yeah, one thing about OBJ and Baker. Baker's employed. OBJ is not.
Well, he's hurt.
Oh, here we go.
Everybody's hurt from an ACL injury.
Everybody's hurt.
Here we go with that pickle rhetoric.
A lot of people get hurt.
OBJ also has a ring, and Baker doesn't.
Man, fuck that, man. He went and cherry picked a ring. That's what he did.
Matt Paradis has a ring.
He has a touchdown in that Super Bowl, though.
Hey, let me explain.
The only thing I'll say about OBJ, man, is he's just not going to ever be the OBJ that was with the Giants.
No.
And that's not saying a lot because the Giants didn't win with him. I agree with Tony. It's just like basketball. I don't respect the ring as much when you go find a team that's already great and win with them. You know what I'm saying? Which it really seems like at the end of the day, they might not even needed him.
Hey, let me explain the OBJ Baker thing real quick.
I want to hear this. Let's hear about the Odell thing because I don't like it.
The simplest way I can describe this. I talked to Eric Metcalf, who used to play for the Browns. He's a Browns legend, and I asked him the question. I'm like, can you explain as like an NFL player, as a wide receiver, like what went on there? Why were they so off target? And the one thing he told me, I'll never forget this. He said, as a receiver, if I'm going to go out there and put my body on the line for somebody to try to go make some tough catches, I'm going to do it for somebody I like. At the end of the day, that's the story with Baker Mayfield and Odell Beckham Jr.
That's true.
They were never on the same page. They always hated each other. I don't care what the media tells you about them so-called being friends. There was always beef there.
Hey, time out, G. Hey, time out. Hey, Tony, hold on, bro. Hey, Tony,
they were friends.
Hey, this bitch ass. Hold on, bro. Hey, I'm in the comments, bro. Hey, block that bitch ass motherfucker. The king, man. He said, "Fuck Twan." Block him, man. You ain't gonna talk about my brother like that, G.
You don't want to
block that bitch ass nigga, G. Hey, the king. I see you, bro.
Hey,
I see you, bro. Don't talk shit on my brother, G.
Jay, here's the thing. Hold up.
Hey, look, man. The toxicity is real. You know, I left a toxic situation, and so the minions they follow me, but I take it as you know, it's a good thing. You know, I mean, when you can't get a grown man off your mind, bro, that's your problem.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick. Hold on. Give the mic to Nick.
Here's the thing to remember. We all seem tough whenever we have a phone in front of our face.
Right.
Whenever you're face to face, nobody has the balls to say anything like that. The guy can come on here and he can talk all the crap he wants, but instead he's going to stay in the comments section.
Yeah.
I want to go back though to the Odell.
Appreciate that, G baby.
Yes, sir.
Can you not? I could see a world where Odell would not be the easiest cat to get along with all the time.
I doubt it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, OBJ.
That's just called greatness, Tony. Michael Jordan had that same trait. Michael Jordan had that same trait.
I'm just saying,
had that same trait, G.
But I heard the exact opposite
They got
about
5 rings and 6 rings.
I heard everybody gets along with OBJ, man.
Let me put it to you like this. There's a clip. You guys probably haven't seen it, but Browns fans have seen it. There's a clip of OBJ and Nick Chubb talking. Chubb, I think he had like 2 or 3 touchdowns on the day, whatever. OBJ walks over to him and he goes, "Man, I wish I could get me a touchdown." And Nick Chubb goes, "I just want to win. I don't really care." And like,
well, that's Chubb's boy. I mean, Chubb and Baker Mayfield are tight.
No, or that
sounds like a team player.
Well, like, what DF is saying is exactly right there. Like,
but y'all knew OBJ was like that when he got there. I mean, look,
that's what I'm just saying is like just because they don't, just because they don't get along. I would say this: there's a world where I could see myself appreciating Odell as a player, but not loving him, like wanting to hang out with him.
Correct.
I mean, let's remember the old picture of him with the now. Maybe I do want to hang out with him because the picture of him in New York with the pizza, the cocaine, and the stripper.
Hey, let me tell you this: his girlfriend. I want him back in Cleveland just to bring Lola Woods back.
All right. I want to ask you though about here. You guys mentioned is that kind of The one thing is I've seen quarterbacks is what I like about Baker is that you guys might not or players might not see him as a baller.
No.
But he has a belief in himself that is required to play the toughest position in the NFL. And I want to go back to a guy who they told us was the most pro-ready quarterback in the draft, Jimmy Clausen. Jimmy Clausen was scared of his own shadow. He wouldn't throw it. He wouldn't throw it more than 4 yards downfield. Like he was scared to fail. And he was so scared to fail that he could not succeed. And maybe he was just dumb as a brick. I think that was part of it.
Yeah, Clausen was just sucking.
I think what you're saying is like really great. Like I do. If I can like just to put respect on OBJ's name and then we can like leave that aside. Like the guy, like I see everybody on the internet always talking about like he only had one good catch. That's it. Like the dude, his first 3 seasons.
I know they were
like,
incredible. They were
the best first three wide receiver seasons ever by a wide receiver, like ever. Right. And that's and like he like I really wish he didn't get injured. Like I know his injury started in New York, and they kind of carried over to Cleveland. Like and they are in LA. I really wish he never got injured because his first 3 seasons were historic. But as far as Baker and his confidence to push the ball, like to not be afraid to fail, I don't know because like his 2019 season, like he said he doubted himself. And after the 2021 season, he also said he doubted himself.
Yeah, I saw that in an interview.
Yeah, like so, like it's like, what are you like? Are you like this underdog who's like not afraid to fail, or do you like also crumble under pressure? Like I like Baker Mayfield, like I do, but I just don't like. I don't know who he is.
He's got Napoleon in him. I'll tell you that much. He's got a lot of Napoleon type in him.
He got that damn microscope on him now, man. And when that microscope is pressure.
But he's had he's overcome it though. Texas Tech,
hear that word
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He is. Dude, when the Browns drafted him number 1, I thought it was like they went against the grain. It was like, what are y'all doing? And it probably turned out to be who else was there a better quarterback in that draft?
Lamar Jackson,
Josh Allen.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. I almost said Sam Darnold. How funny is that?
Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen.
Okay, Josh Allen. Yeah, and Josh Allen was the one that I think Josh Allen's great, but I want to see him continue it. I will say fair. That is.
I agree. I've told people that as well too. Yeah.
I mean, there's a quickness.
No fucking Cam Newton, bro. Y'all are fucking tripping.
I just think there's a quickness to sanctify or to coordinate people. Like even Justin Herbert, who I like a lot, but like they're putting him up as the top level quarterback in the NFL, and I think, man, I just want to see a little bit more longevity. And I'm not hating on him.
As a Browns fan. Like when it comes to Herbert and Burrow, like I would take Burrow right now.
No, I take Herbert.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't do
Burrow over who?
I wouldn't do it.
Herbert.
Just a minute.
I wouldn't do it.
Just a minute, if we don't mind here. To folks in the chat, in the chat, leave the race talk out. Race talk don't belong here. You don't talk race or politics.
I did want to address this comment real quick
because people grow the fuck up.
I do want to address the comment.
Dude, they be hating, Juan. They be hating, G.
I do.
They don't like to see great content, bro.
I do agree with like what Ohio boy, like the comment that was just down there, like when he's talking
about
like,
negative bullshit to a negative fucking podcast.
I do think wide receivers are like unfairly called divas just because.
You're right, but it's some people that don't know Robbie Anderson calls him a diva. Robbie's not a diva.
Fair.
Robbie's an oddball, but he's not a diva.
I don't know. Hey, but Tony, let me ask you this question, Tony. So with what the Browns fan brought up earlier when he said like with the situation with Baker Mayfield, and that was a great point. Baker Mayfield and OBJ, like, so the Browns fans would know better than us, you know. Maybe that situation was personal, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
When it came to them throwing the ball to each other. So my thing is now that Baker is with us, and we already know that Baker and Robbie ain't the best of friends, could that be a situation we have to deal with during the season Because I'll be fucking pissed off if I find out Baker didn't throw a ball his way because he don't like him.
I think Robbie manned up and went to him. Like, I don't think OBJ would have went up to Baker and be like, "Yo, man, my bad," or something like that.
Well,
yeah.
Robbie said that they didn't talk, but Baker did throw a ball Robbie's way. Dante defended it, and then Dante started talking trash to Robbie, and Baker got Dante's face. So that's a good sign.
I want to just address the comment really because I do think there is something to like coded like how language can reveal kind of these background beliefs in different ways. And to give you the one example that we always use for someone who I defended more than anybody, Cam Newton, is you call this guy a great athlete, not a great quarterback. You call him a freak physical specimen, and then you call somebody else a student of the game. So it's, like there are some coded things at times, or not at times in reality in our society and our language. But I think with diva, I don't know if I associate diva with the racial one as much. I think it's almost not, as man. This is that receivers have to have a selfish personality by nature to be great at that position. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you go back and look at all of the greats, man, from Randy Moss to Michael Irvin, Terrell Owens.
You don't even have to leave our backyard. You can go straight to Steve Smith.
Yes.
and like, I don't care if somebody is like, I don't care if somebody's like remember the Titans, like white, black, purple, or orange. If they're a run first quarterback, they're not going to be a top quarterback in the league. Like Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the league. That's like, he is a throw first kind of guy and uses his mobility to throw downfield. And so so that's how I like
to clean that up. I would say that history has shown that you haven't been successful doing that. But the game is changing every year, man. And I think more the quarterbacks are more mobile now than they've ever been.
Absolutely.
The thing with Cam Newton is, one of the things I hate, and I don't know if what Tony said in the past of Cam Newton, is that instead of people looking at like Cam, the same way that Steph Curry in basketball, he changed the game.
Yeah.
Some people don't like it. Some people do. Cam Newton changed the way that we play quarterback. He didn't change everybody, but the NFL may not ever tell you, but they looked at that guy and like, damn, if we get a quarterback that can run and throw, that makes him even more of a threat. So
he also really attacked the narrative, Twan. What Cam Newton kind of did is what Cam Newton has defeated that narrative that great athletes can't be quarterbacks.
Yes, he
defeated that narrative. But what I want to build on your point, Jim, as watching someone whose favorite, close to, it's Julius Peppers. My two favorite players are Julius Peppers and Cam Newton, right, neck and neck. But I will fight anybody over Cam Newton. I'm gay for Cam Newton, the whole thing.
I'm a Cam sexual too.
I know. And the one thing I will say is this: is I understand in a limited discussion that if you can't become the great passer, you can't become the great quarterback. But what I really think this tells us is that any great player, to be really great, your career has to have longevity to it. And any player has to evolve as a player. So if you might be, I'm trying to think of like a great wide receiver who has done this, who has gone from using their speed to becoming like a more possession type player that came around. And I thought Cam Newton was on his way to evolving into that quarterback, and then the shoulder injury after shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And that's
injuries is a motherfucker, bro.
I agree. Yeah. I want to just to give respect where respect is due. I also want to push it back further to Michael Vick. And I don't know. I don't think you get Cam Newton necessarily without Michael Vick, and I think Cam Newton was better overall than Michael Vick.
Oh yeah,
sure.
clear by far.
But I don't know. Like I really liked Michael Vick growing up. I thought he was great.
Not I, because this motherfucker destroyed my college team. He destroyed my college team, and then he came and. I'm a ECU Pirates fan, and they just whenever they had we would play.
I mean, everyone does that though.
Well, I mean, as a Florida State alumni, we shitted on Michael Vick in the championship game, so he ain't never beat us.
I know. But you're right. Is that
thanks, Mike?
Again, I'm like the only person in the world that liked Mike Vick more after he killed the dogs than before.
Oh man!
When he got in trouble for that,
Tony's crazy for that.
Like, I'm not going to hold it over that guy's head for some mistakes he made 20 years ago.
Right.
Like, I think he paid.
Oh, you got to say that as a Browns fan now. You got to be unforgiving now.
I said that even before, because there was some controversy about him being a ref or something in the Pro Bowl, and they didn't want him to do it because of his past. I just think that's crap.
Oh, it was I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, he actually did time. My man actually did time,
right?
too.
Yeah, he did time for it. I mean, he came back, and if it wasn't for Donovan McNabb, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd got back in the league.
Real shit, Pickle. I like that shit, Pickle. Yeah.
Did you guys see? Go ahead, Pickle.
Well, you was talking about wide receivers and quarterbacks earlier. T.O. and Donovan McNabb, they didn't necessarily get along all that well.
Damn, bro, I wish that shit would have worked out. They were a great tandem. If only they let their emotions get out of the way.
Yeah.
Pride.
They could have wrecked the league if they would have got along. They could have wrecked the fucking league, bro.
It was after week 6 they hated each other.
But T.O. had to go that other place and find his real quarterback glove.
Hey Tommy, thanks for Amari Cooper. Hope you enjoy your bag of chips you got in return.
Additional fifth. Was it a fifth? No, it was a regular 5th round pick.
All right. Let's go ahead and start wrapping up the show, guys. Let's go around the horn. Everybody get their kind of final thought on training camp and the upcoming, whatever you want to talk about. The mic is yours one last time. We'll start with Nick in Massachusetts.
So, what's up, Twan? Hey,
hey, Nick, I didn't know you was in Mass.
Oh, yeah, dude, we've had this conversation before,
much fucking sense, bro.
Hey, listen, okay, I might smoke a lot of weed, but, dude, if you're going to smoke some too, you got to share. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go, man.
Oh, Nick, you live that colorful life?
I didn't know Nick was in Massachusetts, bro.
Oh, my God, G. Hey, I'm going to smoke one to you tonight, G. I'm a fucking dog, G.
But, dude, the biggest thing for me, man, and we had an issue with this all last season, we need to get this O-line combination figured out, and we need to get it figured out now. Okay?
Hey,
I'm not going to go.
Who are your guys' top starters right now? On your guys' personal opinions, who do you guys want your starting 5 from left tackle to right tackle to be on this squad right now?
Dialogue.
Oh, come out, because we got Browns fans in here. Tell me how you guys feel about Austin Corbett, because he used to be a Brown.
How do we feel about Austin Corbett? Well,
yes.
Austin Corbett, that I don't mean any disrespect to him, but he was one of John Dorsey's biggest failures. But I will say this: we didn't give him much time. He went to the Rams, and I thought was actually pretty decent, solid starter. How I feel about him, I think he's average. But I mean, he might be in a better scheme with y'all now. I don't know. I think he's all right.
I think he's average, slightly above average. I mean, we've got the best offensive line coach. I mean, pretty much unanimous. Our offensive line coach is the best one ever.
I couldn't tell last year.
Got rid of him before that, so I don't know. Like, I think Corbett is
I
actually.
don't know about that shit. I think you pumping that O-line coach up a little bit.
No,
he didn't look that way last time.
Don't start with Bill Callahan. Don't blame me with Bill
Callahan is like the best offensive line coach ever.
Sure
like,
he is.
Hold on.
And I'm not like a Browns like biased like saying that. He's only been there since 2020.
He's not.
Like, he's one of the best guys.
Hey, you want me to tell you why he's the best offensive line coach?
Go for it.
2019, our offensive line was terrible. Baker Mayfield was out there being Kyler Murray running for his life. People in his face 24/7.
We were ranked in the 20s.
2020, we get a few more pieces, and this man comes in and makes us one of the best offensive lines of.
But what about 2021?
Who said that's it? Was that why Big
We
Jordan?
were like sixth best in
I think the
Bro,
20s.
if we had a top
like, top
20
10
offensive line, we win the fucking Super Bowl.
Yep.
You talking about
Our offensive line is ranked 64th.
Why?
I don't even know how you do that.
Why did the Bills trade
If you go back to
Wait,
the
it's ranked
NFL.
what?
We were ranked 31st last year.
I know. I was saying 60. I mean, I was being a joke. Is
Hey,
that
you
it's
told
so
me they
bad?
were-
It's like, you know how when they say that Sam Darnold is the 60th rated quarterback? Like, that's what our offensive line is. Good God. All right. Let's go back to Nick and let him finish. His point was watching this offensive line and your thoughts on what to watch from that offensive line real quick, Nick, and then we'll let you get on.
The big thing for me is the two guard positions. Who's going to play those two guards? Okay. And I'm okay with doing a little something between switching Aquanu and Christensen, but Christensen needs to stay on the left side. Okay. And so does Icky. As far as anything else that happens, I'd like to not see Pat Elflein at center.
Amen.
But out of all the position that man can play center, he plays the best. Okay. And if you look back at his stats show that he plays center better than he plays left tackle. So
I'm gonna give you this, Nick. I'm gonna give you this, G.
All right.
I
Your
don't
final
think-
point. You gotta make it your final point too. All right.
I don't think Christensen and Icky should both start, man. I feel like Icky, we drafted him as a left tackle. He needs to fucking play left tackle. And I feel like Christensen is a perfect backup because you never know what could happen. And I feel like Michael Jordan should be our starting left guard.
Oh, God.
Good luck with that.
dude, no. Here's the thing, man. Okay.
But G-Baby wants to win games.
G-Baby does want to win games.
You ain't going to
but
win
why-
with Michael Jordan as your starting lineup.
Dude, Michael Jordan, I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, no, trying to wrap
you
up.
want to
Right?
win
You're telling
games.
me a
If
lot
you want to
better.
trade away Jaycee Horn, you want to put Michael Jordan back on the O-line.
Yep.
You want to bench Icky Ekwonu, who was arguably the best player in the draft by
No, I
multiple
want Icky to
sources.
start as
Sounds like
left
Browns
tackle.
He
fans
meant
from
Brady
2019.
Christensen. He meant Brady Christensen.
I'm glad you said it,
Oh,
Nick.
well, dude, but the other thing is, too, last year, man, Brady Christensen was our best offensive lineman behind Taylor Moton. Taylor Moton, who has been basically an all-pro right tackle for us for how long? Dude, we can't sit Brady Christensen. He's shown that he's too valuable to sit.
All right, Tony.
All right, G baby. Any more points, and then we're gonna kind of keep going through the roll call real quick.
No, I'm Gucci.
I was gonna say this is the only thing that Matt Rhule has ever done or said that G baby likes is that Michael Jordan is the brand.
Wow.
Remember that? He's like, this dude gets it. He works. He gets it. He's the brand. All right. Why Big Jordan? Help us out. What's your final kind of point of the night when it comes to training camp or the Carolina Panthers?
I really don't got much to say.
You always got a lot to say.
I don't want to keep going at Baker because it's enough. I feel like you guys gonna be optimistic. I'm gonna let y'all be optimistic about him. But when y'all are sad, y'all just gonna come and join me, and I'm already gonna be here waiting for y'all because I don't believe in him. But I'm sorry. I know you're trying to wrap up, but next time I guess we get asked the Browns fans about the Baker Bros because they are so
I
annoying.
cannot wait.
Oh man,
So annoying. They
What are they? What are they?
They're cancer.
Tell
That's
them.
what they are.
They're what?
They're cancer. I mean, I can explain it to you real quick if you
Yeah,
want.
tell me what a Baker, because I might be one of them.
He,
All right.
you're not that bad.
No,
listen,
you're
a
not.
Baker bro originally is born an Oklahoma Sooners fan, and they travel to every team the man plays on. They don't defend Kyler, they don't defend Hurts, but this man, for whatever reason, is literally a god to them, and they will defend him no matter what.
Baker bottoms.
I agree.
Dude,
Whoever says
hey,
Colt.
white
So it's a Baker
chocolate.
coat.
White chocolate. Can we gift our Cleveland fans with what the real term for this type of person is?
They are called Baker bottoms.
A what?
Yeah,
Bottom for Baker.
A Baker bottom.
Okay.
I am a Baker bottom, and that
You're not that bad though. Like Baker
I know I'm not, but like,
luck
is
with
that
the Sooner
anybody that
fans.
says something good on this show about Baker, we call him a Baker bottom.
Just follow around mediocrity.
But
All
these,
right, go ahead.
but these Sooners fans, I hate because they come in, they pretend like they one of us. So,
Yep,
so
exactly.
they'll say some crazy shit like, "Oh, let Brian Burns walk. We got to extend Baker." I'm like, "What? is that a Panthers fan saying that?" And I'm like, "Why ain't never seen this before?" That's a Baker fan.
I like this. My man said somebody in the JD says it sounds like a disease. That's funny.
Yeah, but that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Christian Montgomery. Go Browns, dog pound, baby. Good luck, Baker, bro.
Damn, bro. I'm glad I got it.
Hey, you know what? Boom. Thank you, Christian
Go Browns,
Montgomery.
Christian.
I'm
All
about
right,
your name down, Christian.
we'll stay with the Browns fans here. DF, your final thoughts for the show. You can talk about the Panthers. You can talk about Baker. You can even bring up something about the Browns.
No, I just want to say, for real, I wish y'all luck with Baker.
No.
Huh? I got no hate for the man. I've moved on. I wish him the best. I don't know, here's my thing. As human beings, we're not meant to be in the same spot forever, and I feel like with Baker, that's kind of the same thing. I think he's just got to find his spot. Hopefully for y'all it works out and he can be your guy and
please
be
stop.
what he was.
Stop.
Well, I'm just saying best case scenario, but just overall, Jaycee Horn does not suck. I want to say that. Browns training camp, obviously, hope we don't have any more injuries because we've been bit so far. Excited to see more of our new guy. And if y'all don't care, I just want to say if there's any Browns fans watching, my channel, I talk about the Browns. If you guys would like, I'd appreciate it. Give me a follow. Same thing, DF Sports. But thank you guys for having me. I love this. I love talking sports in general. I don't care what fan base it is.
That's awesome. Yeah. I want to encourage all of our fans to go check out DF Sports and subscribe to his channel, because one of the things that's been great is the great thing about the addition of Baker Mayfield is a lot of Browns fans have been very willing to be interested in how that story pans out, and been great interactions on this podcast already with Browns fans. So I appreciate that. Go help. Not go help. Just go tune in to DF Sports. Let's go to Keep Pounding. Tell me, man, what you were at training camp the first day. What are you going to be watching to unfold going forward?
I'm going to be watching that secondary. I think we got one of the better secondaries out there right now. People are sleeping on this defense. You got Brian Burns that's frustrated that he hasn't gotten double-digit sacks. I'm going to be watching him. And Frankie Louvu is one of the bigger names in that defense that I'm going to be watching. And he stood out to me last year, and I think he's got a lot of potential to grow into one of those big starter roles in the future. And
the coaching staff sure likes him. Phil Snow really likes Frankie Louvu.
Yeah, there was a lot of positivity about him last year, and I think that's going to continue. I was watching one of Unk's streams from day one, and he mentioned that this secondary, he thinks this secondary is going to get 20 interceptions. That's a big number, and I like it. I like the optimism there, and I think they're capable of it if we can keep people healthy.
Well, that's what we need. I guess that's the big difference between our good defense last year and a great defense right, is the turnover generation. Is it's not just holding guys and creating short fields, which they were great at last year. But, that 2015 Panthers defense wasn't the best Panthers defense that we've had, but it was the most dynamic game, like moment-changing defense. You know what I'm saying? The 2013 defense, the 2003 defense, we had another good season in there too. I think another one with maybe a 4 or 5 that the defense was real good. But the 2013 defense was like the best defense I had ever seen the Panthers have. Like it was just fucking. They had 60 sacks. It was incredible. But that 2015 defense flipped the script by scoring points. So if you're right, it's like if we could take that step forward, and you heard Jeremy Chin talk about that right off the bat. So great observation. All right, let's go to my bastard son, white chocolate espresso.
I don't have really much to say. I just say this: if you're a Baker fan who've now become a Carolina Panthers fan, don't wear a fucking Browns jersey to training camp.
That's how you know. You can spot them early.
I don't care. It's gonna be a Browns jersey.
That means they're not a Panthers fan, bro.
Exactly.
They're just a Baker Mayfield fan.
Well, just don't wear
Baker
Browns
bottom.
jersey. Don't wear nothing. If you ain't got no other shirt in your life, don't wear nothing.
Get a Baker Panther jersey. I don't care.
All right, let's go to Jim. Jim, final thoughts for the show.
Yeah, well, thank you all for having me on here. Just as a shout out, everybody watching right now, subscribe. Like, this is great. Like, I really appreciate this. Like, I've been watching y'all, I think, since June. So, like, before Baker got traded here. So, like, yeah, this is great. I love this. Really, really, really appreciate y'all having me.
Hey, James,
on.
nice to actually talk to you outside of a comment section.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. I would just say
I'm also just an hour down the road from you.
Yeah. Hey, for the Panthers, for the Panthers contingent, if you've got a good offensive line and if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, I know that's a big question mark, but if those two things, I really don't care about the wide receiver core as much after that. Like, it does matter for sure, but if you've got a good offensive line and Christian McCaffrey stays healthy, and if Baker Mayfield starts, I know that's a lot of assumptions, but if those two things happen, I think you'll win some games. I do. I think if he has the time to throw in that safety net for the running attack and the passing attack with CMC, I think it'll be good. This defense, I think, absolutely is being overlooked. I think it's a pretty good defense. It just being around here in the area. There's a reason y'all started out 3-0 last season. Yeah. And Jaycee Horn is pretty important to that too. I'm a little concerned about that foot injury. Just because of I agree. It's a pretty big question mark right now. So I think Jaycee Horn and that defense is going to be important. I'm looking forward to just seeing this game that plays out week 1 and forward. I'll probably watch the Panthers games going forward, just to see how it all turns out. And like I said before, I do hope that you all do well. I really do.
Well, thank you, man. You guys were great tonight. All right, Panther Pickle, last up.
I'm real curious about the offensive line. I want to see how that works out. A little concerned about the depth on the defensive line, just because when YGM is 265 and he's your biggest defensive end, God forbid he goes down and we have to use 100, 235, 245 guys to stop a running back. That's going to run over you anyways. So, but it is what it is. I think I want to shout out Jaycee Horn for calling out Madden for making his rating wrong. He did that on Twitter today.
What was his rating?
His catch rating was a 72, and he called him out on it. Said his catch rating should be up higher. So
I mean, he only played 3 games. How's he gonna have a rating? Should be still to be determined.
Yeah, well, it's what they did, and
Madden sucks. We can all agree on that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know what? I think Madden does this on purpose.
But they gave this year. They actually print, and it's online, by the way, at 1-800 number where you could call and complain about a player's rating.
That's all. See, they do it on purpose. They do this on purpose. It generates conversation. It generates conversation. You know, they had Malik Willis's awareness number at 43 and Kenny Pickett's at 70.
Wow. Right.
And Kenny Pickett had the worst score on the Wonderlic out of everybody.
That's hilarious.
You know, and somebody put up a great tweet. They said, Madden racist. But I think this, and my friend gave me a good tip on this. This generates conversation. He said, you want to get a surefire debate going, put up a poll that says who's the best Panthers, whatever, and put 3 names up there and leave off really one that's like the obvious answer. So it'd be like, who are the 3 greatest players in Panthers history? Cam Newton, Julius Peppers, or Luke Kuechly?
Steve Smith.
Yeah, I know, but you leave Steve Smith off the list on purpose. So then you get 900 comments that say, where the fuck's Steve Smith at?
Oh.
So that's what I think Madden does with his rating. All right. Man, I want to
the number for the Madden.
He's got the number.
Hold on. Let me write it down. Hold on. All right, go ahead.
Now, here's the number that's put out. Now, this is on Jaycee Horn. He put it out. And he says, tell me why ratings adjuster thinks I got no hands with the 72 catch rating. Spam this number, 686-278-3030 until at Madden NFL fixes that.
Got it.
What did he do? Give the guy that like designed that, like that's like somebody's cell phone number.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what number he got, but
it's like Baker Mayfield's, or Sam Darnold's phone number.
If this is Baker Mayfield's number, I'm gonna have some fun.
I've seen other players put that number out, by the way.
All right, we're gonna close the show. Speaking of that, is a great story. One time, is I used to have Jose Canseco's cell phone number, and we used to prank call him.
You can get anybody's number if you look hard enough.
Or if you spend enough money.
Well, get us get us Sam Darnold's number. Or even better, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater's telephone number would be great, so we could call Tanisha up.
I got Nick Chubb's number. I probably shouldn't be saying that publicly, but
I don't feel like getting killed, so no, thank you.
I would like to know it just so I could like message him and say, "Hey, you're my favorite football player ever." Basically,
I know. Thank you. You know what? Is my family, my wife's family's all big Georgia Bulldogs.
Over Jim Brown.
Crazy.
Well, like I mean,
he wasn't
like
born
he's
then.
just a memory. Like it's my dad's favorite player. Yeah, so Nick Chubb is just my favorite player right now.
Yeah, bro,
just
I'm 20.
Yeah, I'm 29. I'm 29. So,
I didn't watch leather helmet shit.
Yeah, Otto Graham's not my favorite quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead and peace out. Look, this has been the C3 Friday Free for All. Cody Lashney was very upset he could not be here on this night. He's been holding this down, man. This is his baby.
Yeah, what the fuck was up with that?
He's got some company in town, some family in town.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, straight up.
he had to entertain tonight, and he knew that he would go on for 7 hours if he came on this show. Look, my name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me at @cat_Chronicles. The C3 Panthers podcast every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. We got the beat check on Wednesdays where we catch up with a beat writer from our team or the opposing team, or at least if we can't line up a guest that week, we go through the headlines that are popping that day. We bounce around and support all the content creators on that day. Also, Friday Free for All, where fans can be a part of the show and come in and have their voice heard on the discussion. And then throughout the season, we're doing the post-game show, which is going to be awesome. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers before the preseason starts. We're well on our way. You guys have been helping us out. We appreciate it. So big thanks to all the people in the chat, and an even bigger thanks. Well, not a bigger thanks, an equally big thanks to the people on the panel tonight for creating such a good conversation. Until Tuesday, I guess the only thing to do is to keep pounding.